Hello and welcome to the 7th round of the Tom Onslow-Cole Clio Series.
Callan is over! Oh, look at the small one!
Hello and welcome to the 7th round of the Tom Onslow-Cole Clio Series. I'm Ryan Callan, and today, do we have a treat for you? We have the 2013 Clio debut, and joining me in the booth today is Scott Woodwiss. Are you excited, Scott?
Absolutely, this is a fantastic Clio. By the way, hi Ryan, hi everybody. Welcome back after our summer break. We've had a nice little relaxing kind of getaway, if you like, and from the series. But we're back now for the last 4 rounds. This is the sprint towards the championship, all on British circuits. And what a better way to return than to debut a brand new car. It's our new arrival at TouringProSeries, the 2013 Clio, and it's had some mixed reception. Some drivers like it, some drivers, with a couple in particular, hate it. But nonetheless, it's going to prove to make some interesting racing, and yeah, I'm excited to see how we get on here at Croft.
It should be a fantastic event. Of course, this is a fantastic track as well, a real driver's favourite. Matt Neal, in real life, was talking about how, you know, it's all out balls around the back of the circuit and how there's technical stuff in there as well. And we just raced here in the British Touring Car Championship, of course, with Team Hard and Tom Onslow-Cole being involved in that. It's nice that we're also here at Croft again as well. What have the drivers said about Croft itself? It's very bumpy compared to what they were expecting, anyway.
It is. Well, it's a very fast circuit. I mean, I've been talking to some of the drivers, and some drivers are expecting Sector 1, where you've got a lot of anti-cuts, a lot of very stop-start corners. You've got, you know, the corners such as Clairvaux and Hawthorne, and then the chicane running down towards Tower Bend. And those kind of areas there with the huge anti-cuts inside the corners, it's going to be very there's a higher risk of drivers actually putting it onto two wheels, maybe even rolling it onto their roof. So a slight mistake can cause that. You'd be surprised. With this new Clio, some drivers have said it's incredibly easy to do that. Also, the last sector is going to be pretty tricky as well. That's the going into the complex and then into the hairpin as well, and that's the actual literal names of the corners. It's called the complex and the hairpin. And also other fast corners as well. The very fast parts on the back of the circuits, you've got the Jim Clark S's, the Kink at Barcroft, and then you've got the wonderfully named Sunny In and Sunny Out double right-handers. Which is absolutely fantastic. So you've got a plenty of variety of corners here. You've got two long straights, plenty of chances for slipstreaming and overtaking. Some key overtaking spots, I'd say, definitely into Clairvaux, into turn one, into Tower Bend as well. And I think maybe then your major spots are going to be not as much, but maybe coming into the complex and definitely into the hairpin if you can get a run through that left and right section before the final corner. So there's about 4 major overtaking spots. We have seen some drivers try passes on the exit of Hawthorns, but of course going into the chicane, you're going through single file, so there's no way you can get 2 cars. So we probably see a lot of drivers go across the tarmac on the inside of the chicane, and hopefully not getting too much of an advantage. If they do, they're going to get a slap on the wrist.
Well, there's a nice big anti-cuts there anyway to stop and discourage that one.
There we go. There we go. And then we've got the Jim Clark S's. Now, it's possible, we saw it, especially with BTCC, drivers like Rob Collard and such. It's not uncommon. If you get the line right, you can pass in the Jim Clark S's. It's extremely fast, but you have to be very careful not to run out too wide. And of course, again, there's going to be drivers maybe using the tarmac on the exit as well. And we saw it in real life BTCC where some drivers are using it excessively and not respecting track limits. So it can very easily happen here as it has in BTCC.
And there are the new Clios on the spotted guide for you in case you're unfamiliar with the paint schemes. Many of the paint schemes are very similar, aren't they, Scott, to what we've seen previously in the season. So you recognise Precision straight away, you've got THR straight away, we've always got Strauss also there on the bottom row in a very similar livery to what we saw at Thruxton especially. And also you've got Optimum Sim Racing as well, and Core, all very, very similar. So it's not too difficult to pick out the liveries, even though we've got brand new cars. Just a quick word about Optimum Sim Racing, actually. In fact, their driver, Scott Cervic, is running a special livery for this event, as this is his 100th Touring Pro Series race. An incredible achievement, really. He's actually the 8th most experienced driver in TPS history.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's great that he's been committed so long to TPS, of course, as we get drivers who keep coming back for more over the different series, and it's fantastic to have him here. So, of course, you know, obviously, as Ryan has from Ryan and myself and everyone at TPS, congratulations on reaching 100 races, and hopefully here's to 100 more. The only driver that I can see that hasn't got his livery from the 2008 Clios, I can see on that spotter guide at least, is Pipo Rodriguez. He's choosing to run the Touring Pro Series default livery, if you like, but it's still a fantastic looking livery to run the car in, and so hopefully he'll do pretty well. He's currently sat, I can work that 11th in the championship, so just shy of the top 10. But you can see the top 10 looking at it.
These are the standings at the moment as well.
As you bring up the top 10, here we go. So you can see Jack Keithley leads the standings, and it's a very substantial lead that he's got if we have a look at it now. 554 points to Tolborg's 493. Toby Davis is sat there in 3rd place, the reigning champion, so he's still in there with a chance. So there's still the top 3 is slightly starting to break away from the chasing pack. Simon Keelov's in there as well. He was an early pace setter. Then we look at 5th and 6th. We've got Alexander Lauritz and then John Monroe, only eligible for driver points, not for team points, of course, because he joined Precision from Ice Cold in the middle of the season. And then down the lower end of the top 10, you've got likes of Tom Ely, Darren Adams, Gary Lennon, and Heinz Petzold as well, with Pipo Rodriguez just behind. So it's getting very close then into kind of the lower rungs of the top 10 in terms of how this is going to play out in the final 4 races. Team standings, THR Orange now actually lead. They have a 16-point lead, excuse me. Over,
well, that comes with a big story, doesn't it? Because Simon Keeler was disqualified from both his results at Moss because he didn't submit his log.
There you go. That's
incredible turn of events.
It is, but that's the thing with sim racing, so of course, is if there's these things like log infractions and
well, it's just like
realizing
if you fail the weight test or the you know the whatever it's called, the start test, you don't start off, you lose a result. That's just the way it is. So it's the same in sim racing as well, just to make sure that nothing is untoward.
Absolutely. I like to call it, just so it doesn't confuse anyone, just so it's more relatable to real life, technical infringement. So if anyone gets disqualified for a log infraction or anything, just to make it simpler, we just say it's a technical infringement that they got, or a technicality that they were disqualified on. Makes it a lot easier for them to understand, I guess. But yeah, we've got some more events coming up, so I'll let you run through those, Ryan.
Yeah, we've got next event coming up after our lovely summer break is the virtual V8 Supercars. and that is round 7 also. That starts, that happens on the 13th of July. So they've had a 5-week break. Clio's have had a 4-week break here, and we're at Oran Park, which is always a driver's favourite. Lovely, lovely track. Laser scanned also as well. Plus, we're back to the 2-race sprint races with sprint tyres format. So looking forward to that. It's brought great excitement at Barbagallo and Simmons Plains. People describing those races as some of the best they've ever seen in the Touring Pro Series. So looking forward to that format returning after a 5-week hiatus in the Virtual V Supercars. Make sure you look out for that. Titanic battle in the championship between Rietveld and the reigning champion Tolborg as well. It's really capturing the imagination. Make sure to tune into that. If you can't, of course, watch any of our things live, any of our broadcasts live, then you can, of course, jump onto YouTube. On YouTube, we have all of our broadcasts uploaded about 2-3 hours after, as quickly as YouTube can process them, really, after every single event. So they're always up there very promptly indeed. And we are uploading highlight videos as well. Currently, I'm catching up on all of those highlight videos, and make sure you look out on our YouTube channel for that. You can also like us on Facebook, facebook.com/TouringProSeries, and youtube.com/TouringProSeries. Also, don't forget to follow Mr. Tom Onslow-Cole at Tom Onslow-Cole on Twitter. He always has plenty of things to say. Bit of banter, bit of BTCC news as well, and always a bit of a spectator favourite anyway. So that's always good to follow along with a driver that's well liked by other drivers and spectators alike. We're about to go into qualifying here, Scott. We've got a few problems though with a few of the cars. They've got a bit of a technical difficulty. So if you just press along a wee bit, then I'll try and see if I can help out the people having these issues.
Okay, not a problem. I'll try and fill as best I can then. So we've got running now towards 10 minutes of the qualifying session. Just to remind guys, for anyone who's not familiar with the qualifying format, if you're watching for the first time, basically what this is it's a simple one-shot qualifying session. We're seeing Toby Davis here. He's always someone to go out first. He's someone who usually likes to get his qualifying lap in early, whilst the track's nice and clear, well, there's no other cars around, and so he takes advantage of that very early on. So it's simply a one-shot qualifying. They get one single flying lap to try and prove their worth and try and grab themselves pole position for a race. We get 2 qualifying sessions for both the races, so it's not like how we get in touring cars where the results from race 1 set the grid for race 2, or it's not reverse grid or anything. We have 2 separate qualifying sessions. So if you don't get pole in race 1, we usually get you can try and get pole position, for race 2. And usually we've had, on some occasions, we've usually seen a surprise pole sitter in race 2. Some we hadn't normally expected up near the front, so that's going to be quite intriguing. For those who are also watching for the first time and wondering what the affiliation with Tom Onslow-Cole and Team Hard is, thankfully the guys at Team Hard and also Tom himself have very kindly come on board as partners with TPS for this Clio Championship, and they're offering a fantastic prize. It's almost a money can't buy prize for the champion, which is they will get an all expenses paid, including flights and accommodation. Of course, that's in case if it has to get to that point if the winner's outside Europe. They will then get the chance to test drive a Team Hard VW Cup car at Brands Hatch with support from Team Hard and, of course, tuition from Tom himself. They'll also get themselves a test drive, not a test drive, it'd be quite extreme if we got that as well, but they'll also get a passenger ride, I should say, in Tom Onslow-Cole's brand spanking new VW Passat NGTC BTCC car, which of course took a podium in one of the races in the race weekend at BTCC in Croft just gone, so congratulations to Tom for securing that. I believe it was a 3rd place in the wet, which is pretty awesome feat. And also they'll get other prizes such as a chance to have a VIP weekend at a race weekend of their choice with Team Hard and Tom Onslow-Cole. So plenty of prizes up for grabs for those who are going towards the championship. But the championship fight is probably going to go on for quite a while for the next 4 races, so we'll go through those in a minute. Right now we're looking at Toby Davis, who is currently out on the circuit, and he will be the first to pump in a lap time and give us a benchmark for the rest of the drivers to try and aim for. So he's heading through the complex here, very tricky double left-hander, get it stopped for the right-hander as well. And now this hairpin here, you have to put it wind on full lock As you head down towards, look at that, and under brakes. We're going to talk about this at length a little bit as we go through the race week, this race weekend in this broadcast. But some of the characteristics of this new Clio, especially one is the rears tend to lock on the brakes very quick, a lot. As Davis does a 1:31.075, so it's not a bad time. It's about 3/10 off the fastest time that was set in practice by Simon Keelow. He was the only man to get into the 1-minute 30s at 1:30.7, which is an incredible time. Pipo Rodriguez pops into second at 1.3 seconds off the pace of the reigning champion on a 1:32.356. One thing I do want to point out as well, I'm not sure if this was actually covered at length at all very much, as Tom Ely goes to second with a 1:32.1, was I did notice that Rasmus Salo, forgive me if this was the case in Most, Rasmus Salo has jumped to THR. He has now gone to THR as one of their drivers. He's currently piloting one of the THR green machines. So he has now jumped ship and left Optima Motorsports, which is going to be quite intriguing about that one. Now, we're still watching Toby Davis. I know that obviously Ryan's sorting out one or two things with some of the problems. So we're going to see at the moment, I'm going to try and look on my screen for the server, see exactly who is doing what. No time's coming in just yet because I'm not sure what's happening there because I'm not seeing anything else, so we'll have a look at that at the moment. More times coming in then, so Eric Strana's gone to second on the 1:31.7, so still 7/10 off the pace of the fastest time in this session so far, set by Toby Davis, who we're still on board with. We're seeing it now. How you can tell drivers that are out on the track is if their number, if the background is kind of like a darker yellow, that means they're in the pits. If it's lighter yellow, that means they're actually out on track. So as far as I can see, we've got Jack Keithley, Pedro Alvaral, Jesper Tolborg, Monroe and Adams, and then we've got Peklaj, Adji and Butcher all out on track. Couple of times, more times coming in. Alexander Lauritsen goes to second on the 1:31.4, excuse me, 4/10 off the pace. Jimmy Hughes has gone to fourth on a 1:34.9, and then Jimmy Hughes I think has gone to. No, I think someone's just popped out of the service. That's quite good. On board with Jonathan Osserklint, who's now fifth, fastest on 1:32.179. And now look at Jack Keithley, who chops across the front of. That's one of the THR rep machines. There must be Chris Butcher, I believe, as he heads down the straight, and Keithley will then go to start on his lap then. So see how that works. And he's now being chased down by Chris Butcher into Clairvaux, very kind of fast and flowing right-hander. And you come towards this kink here towards Hawthorne, which is, it kind of opens out on the as you run through it, and then you go towards the chicane, and this is where only really one car can get through at a time, and there's huge anti-cuts on the inside there, so you really cannot afford to make any mistakes and run across, as Keithley's now up by almost, well, it's 3/4 of a tenth, so it's 0.075 of a second as he heads down towards Tower Bend. He's running rather nicely as they head on the exit and towards the fastest part of the course, which is the Jim Clark S's, as David van der Venne's jumped to fourth in the 1:31.9. Great stuff from the Belgian there to pop himself near the top of the field. And a nice clean run through the Jim Clark S's, through Croft, which is a very fast right-hander, and then Sunny in and Sunny out, and two magnificently named corners. And let's see what the second sector brings up for Jack Keithley. He is currently leading the championship, as we said, by quite a while, and he's lost a couple of hundredths, but he's still 36 thousandths of a second up on the fastest time. We've still got the likes of Simon Keelow to go, and also John Monroe, and Jesper Tolborg as well, who are all, I believe, out on track. I know Tolborg is at least. So Keithley then rounds the final corner, and where can he pop himself onto the grid then for this first race of round 7 of the Tom Onslow-Cole Clios here at Croft?
Stay to the right, as is sensible, to make sure it's the shortest route.
Yep.
Oh, he doesn't quite do it. Oh, it's so close. Look at that. 400ths of a second in it's got.
I was actually about to say welcome back, Ryan, because he just popped in there and then.
Sorry about that. I just went through making sure that other drivers didn't have any issues, and it seems like everybody's got themselves sorted pretty much now. Most people have been a bit naughty and having their graphic settings a bit too high, being greedy with these lovely new Clios. So obviously that's affecting them. Salo crosses the line, and that is not a good debut for THR for him.
Oh dear, 16th. That's probably, I think we expected a bit more from that one. Chris Butcher's done 13th on a 32.7. That's a bit of an improvement. Last time I saw his times, he was doing 33. That was his best time. So he definitely found a little bit of pace. But this is the man we're all watching for, Simon Keelow. He's currently 4th in the standings. He's dropped back a little bit after he lost his victories in Most. Lost his points in Most. His points in Most. Excuse me, not victories. He was stripped of both of those for not submitting his log properly. So we'll see what his first sector is. He's down by half a second. So Whether or not he
Well,
finds
that's
more
the
time in
fastest time we've seen from Toby Davis as well. We haven't seen him do a 31.0,
It is.
and it's got to qualifying, and he's banged it straight in. So that shows how focused he is, and that's that's a great lap. I know he has gone faster than that through chats with him before, but that's the fastest he's done today. Well, on the server at least, anyway. So that he's turned up the wig when it matters.
He has indeed, and it's a nice smooth run through the Jim Clark S's, so we'll get an idea of exactly where he stands on the second sector as he hits the timing beam in just a moment, as he heads to Sunny In, and then runs on the exit curve.
It's funny how it's never ever sunny at Sunny In, I must say.
It's not, isn't it?
When it rains, it's always the wettest part of the track, and he's pretty much even with Toby in that second sector. So gained just ever so slightly, but it's blinks of an eye, isn't it?
It is, and it's funny you say about the rain, of course, sunny in, sunny out, because we had that at BTCC this past weekend. It was almost a washout, especially in race 3. So I know that the MGs adjacent place with Sam Torloff suffered with their the wet tyres when it started to dry out, but that's BTCC. This is Clio's, and where's Clio going to pop himself on the grid? Answer is...
He's third. Look at that, he's third, and he's just 7/100ths off pole position, and yet he's third. And there's big gaps. Look at the top 3 compared to the rest of the field at the moment. Who else hasn't set a lap time at the moment? Gary Lennon hasn't set a lap time. He's out on track. He's going to be close getting around the track here to set a lap time. In fact, he's got 55 seconds to go to get right. Should be just about okay, actually.
Yeah.
In fact, so, but he's going to have to get on with it. He can't warm his tyres or anything. He has to, get around sharpish. Chris Hack there looks like struggling to find
John
a corner.
Monroe hasn't either.
Hasn't set a lap time yet either, and he's in the pits.
Yeah.
So Monroe, the 2 Scotsmen in the field, are not doing well at all. Apologies if there's another Scotsman somewhere.
Well, Chris Hack has just swept through, so he's just about started his lap time. I'm just seeing that.
He's done his lap. He's 5th. Look,
he's done it 5th.
A fantastic
great
qualifying performance from Chris Hack. It looked like he was very narrow into that final corner, but maybe just carried more speed through the approaching corners rather than go for the wide turning, which most people seem to prefer, which is a classic line. And Lennon crosses the line with 12 seconds to go, so that was comfortable.
Yeah, that was it looked 55 seconds at that point of the circuit. He's not going to be too much trouble for him to get round, so sorry to state the obvious, but just wanted to try and fill that in a little bit. So the clock has now run down to 0, which means that Lennon, of course, as is usual with qualifying in motorsport, effectively if the clock goes 0 whilst you're on a lap, you are allowed to finish it. So Lennon's down by just over a 1/10.5, so he's pushing on. So 1/10.5 at the moment. That's going to put him. That'll put him roughly around row 2, but of course there's still 2 sectors to go sectors of the lap left to go, so it's not all over decided just in sector 1. And look at the car just bounding around on the exit of Tower Sad Ben. That's what we're going to talk about, because of course this new Clio's got a better suspension setup, so you can feel the bumps more. We were talking about this before the broadcast. You can feel the bumps more, but it doesn't. The back end doesn't bounce around so much as the old one used to do, effectively, because the old Clios used to be effectively the automotive equivalent of Tigger. You saw the back end just bouncing around everywhere around. But this one's a lot more stable. Actually, you could actually, yeah, that's exactly. It's Zebedee or something like that, or whatever other cartoon references we can make to a springing cartoon.
There we go.
That's
Scott targeting our target audience there, talking about Winnie the Pooh and what's Zebedee from?
Magic Roundabout.
Magic Roundabout. Okay. Magic Roundabout.
I think the phrase now time for bed. I think the phrase time for bed is now probably apt at the moment for me right now. But anyway, across the line goes Gary Lennon, 15th. We lost quite a lot of time in it.
Gary Lennon. We've got a few drivers who are leaving just to make sure they got their settings correct. So I think the field is a little bit scrambled at the moment. We will get a nice clear view of exactly how it's going to be set out in warm-up, as long as they come back before warm-up, of course. But that's the end of qualifying session. Congratulations to Toby Davis. It's another pole position for him this season. He's had quite a few, and I know he's feeling quite confident, but he's up there, alongside 2 precision guys. And as we see, Lauritsen has left the game just to make sure everything's okay with his setting stuff and make sure, be doubly sure for the race as we go into warm-up. And it's actually Amaral is in 5th and Hack in 6th. So that's a little bit confusing for us, but that will be clear once they grid up, of course. We've got a formation lap here to start this race. 18 laps is the race, about 25 minutes would be the race length. And your predictions for the race win, Scott?
This is going to be intriguing. Well, I think to point out the obvious, I think it's going to be THR or a Precision victory, because those are the two still dominant teams. It's interesting that with the new Clios, it hasn't really it's not really changed the status quo. It's still remained the same with THR versus Precision, and there, I think it's fair to say it is a war, because it's a war between those two.
It's about as friendly as a war. Anybody who watched our last broadcast and listened to the driver interviews and watched the second race there will know there is not any love wasted between those two teams.
Well, I think even the guys in THR, when I was talking to them before, they actually said that they're not fond of Precision anymore. I don't think they will be for the foreseeable future. So that's going to be something we'll have to. That's another developing story. But it's a battle in an ongoing war. This series, because of course these guys, ever since Precision came into TPS, effectively they've tried to knock THR off the perch as being the top team, and in many ways they have done that. I'm sorry to say, because THR have tried to fight back, and they have done very aptly enough in many cases. But it just seems as though that Precision, everything that THR throws at Precision, they've always got an answer and then some in response, which is always very frustrating. But on this occasion, it's THR that have won the battle of qualifying, at least, because of course Toby's got himself pole position by about 4/10 of a second, so that's going to be quite intriguing to see how Davis responds to that one. He's always pretty good at leading, getting pole position, but then sometimes if you get to a rough start in the first couple of laps, he does start to drop back, but he's always good at battling through to try and get himself into a good position. But we saw it in races like Rockingham, where he started in pole position, and in some cases he had to battle for it at some points, but once he's up in front and he's got a good car underneath him, especially in case I think it was one of the races at Thruxton as well, and also at the at Rockingham as well, he can break away if the car underneath him is working to his liking. It seems to be it's working right now at the moment with a 31.0, so it's all looking good. This man, of course, is going to be pretty intrigued to see how he gets through the field, because he'll be starting from the back, which is John Monroe. Really come on strong since he joined Precision. But he's going to have a real toss. He's going to have about 25 mobile chicanes in front of him off the line.
He's sixth in the championship, and he's going to have a lot of ground to make up. Unfortunately, because a few people joined the server while he was on his lap, and it just judged his game a little bit. And as a result of that, he was in the braking zone, and then the next thing he knew, he was in the barrier, unfortunately, because of just the slight pause put his game off. So that's unfortunate, John Monroe, technical glitch, as it were. But drivers have had 4 weeks to prepare for this event and make sure their systems are working correctly. So really it's down to the driver's responsibility to make sure that their cars, that their systems are able to handle the detail level and the numbers of cars that are on track. And really that's, I would say, down to driver's responsibility, and they have to sort that out themselves. We can't do that for them, unfortunately, and many times these crashes are just caused by people being a bit too greedy with their settings. Of course, the mod is quite a high detail, and that can obviously impact as well, but anybody can tell by looking at it it's a high detail. And just turn the settings down, make sure you're safe, because what's most important is making sure that you can do the race, not making sure that your game looks pretty, because leave that to the highlight videos and the screenshots.
Yeah, that's fair. As long as you can get around without any kind of frame rate dropping or anything, or the car bouncing around, lagging into other people, that's the perfect thing. But yeah, basically it's kind of a case of you drivers do the driving, we'll do the pretty stuff. We'll do the kind of the broadcast to make sure it all looks nice and fancy, so that you look good. So that's, and I think that as long as the drivers stick to that, that's absolutely fine. A couple of drivers, I suppose, who really come on strong now with this new Clio. One is Florian Stroud, which we're looking at right now, 6th quickest in qualifying. So it's good, or at least thereabouts. So he's up near the front in the top 10 at least. So it's good to see him back up the front for 360 Racing. Also Pedro Amaral, which was quite a funny story. I read this on the forums earlier today. Is that he got practicing with his new Clio, and then was expecting a race either a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden think, right, where's the race? And of course he forgot there was a 4-week break. So he was all
raring to go.
He was ready to race 2 weeks ago. So it's not surprising that he's up there in 4th place with this new Clio, because he's had the most practice out of anyone. So I think
he's impressed me. He's very much impressed me in how adaptable he has been to rFactor, because his stablemates, Miguel Nato and Gonsalves and Lopez and VR, they couldn't get to grips with the rFactor Clio at all. Nato didn't exactly struggle, but wasn't as fast as as he should have been. Considering his ATCC, which was run on race 07 strengths, and but Amaral's come in and outshone all of the drivers, all of the Team Portugal members who've tried the Clios, has come in and outshone them all. And obviously now we've gone to the new Clio, he's adapted even because people have had not much time, relatively speaking, because 4 weeks compared to several years is obviously not very long at all. But you know, he's obviously been able to adapt very easily, and this switch has favoured him, you know, quite a lot. And I don't think we've been able to get Alexander Lauritsen back into the game. So we've lost Lauritsen.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say Lauritsen hasn't turned up, but so that's going to be quite a key. That's if he does turn up, he'll have to start from the back of the grid, so that's not a key thing at all, unless they restart it. But we've got the cars on the formation out there, so let's quickly run through the grids as they stand there. So
let's just check he's not. No, he's not in the server, unfortunately. So that is a big blow for Alex, because he's one of the stories of the championship at the moment, isn't he? In the middle of the season, 3 wins from the last 4 races.
He's put himself right into the championship. I remember back at the first couple of rounds, especially at Brands Hatch, he was down fighting with lower parts of the top 10, wasn't he? He wasn't really fighting up there for a victory. So it's good to see he's now coming on strong, thanks to that precision magic, if you like, in terms of how he's managed to develop. But anyway, let's quickly run through what we can see on the grid for what we've got, because they are already up towards the Jim Clark S. So Toby Davis has pole then for THR, with Jack Keithley, the championship leader, alongside him. Simon Kielov in 3rd, with Pedro Amaral sat 4th. Then row 3 is Chris Hack and Jesper Tolborg. Eric Strana, he's done a great job in the 7th as well. And Thomas Badazewski in 8th. Row 5 is Florian Strauss and Davy van der Venne. Great stuff from him as well to get into the top 10.
Very good
stuff from the Belgian. Heinz Petzold and Tom Ely on row 6, Darren Adams and Jonathan Osterklint on row 7, Jay Adji and Scott Sovic on row 8. Peter Rodriguez down in row 9, I thought he'd be a bit quicker than that, but he's down there alongside Luca Pekbash. Row 10, Thomas Jacobs and a very disgruntled Chris Butcher, to say the least. Robert Powell and Rasmus Salo, he's down there as well, 22nd as well. Another key driver, he's been up there with the 2008 Clio, but he's right down the field in his first race for THR in the green machine. That's back on row 11. Nick Hughes and John Monroe, he's going to be one to watch to come through the field. He's going to be really key to watch. That's going to be fascinating to start from 24th. And then Davy van der Venne and Jimmy Hughes will round out the 26 car grid. So we've got a couple of guys out of position then, Salo and Hughes, possibly Butcher and Rodriguez to consider as well. So those could be some stories of the race, but mainly at the front, Davis really hasn't really got a rear gunner apart from Jesper Tolborg, because Tolborg he's starting 6th. He's going to have to carve his way past Hack and Amaral to try and get himself anywhere near his teammate. And of course, Keithley and Kielov have support in each other, so that's going to be quite key as cars are forming up. And what a sight that is, that 26 brand spanking new Clios all set for their first race.
Absolutely, and they're all forming up, as you can see. It's Toby Davis on pole position. Very different, the grid here at Croft. You don't have very much advantage at all if you're on the front row. We just have a small gap, as you can see, and we're all gearing up, ready for these lights. This is the view from Toby Davis's car, and away from the grid they go for round 7 of the debut of the 2013 Clio. Excellent start from the 2 on the front row, and Kilo has been left standing. Look at him, he's way back now. He's going to go back to 6th spot. Manizewski's also had a great start. Well, around the outside, Davis, and he's been shoved onto the anti-cuts. Oh, that's dangerous stuff, and it looks like he's taking the lead. He has taken the lead.
And that was a key pass he had to make as they head through the chicane for the first time. One at a time through there. You cannot try and go through there too wide. He's now look back, and there's Tolborg. And I said that's exactly the start he needed. Up to 3rd place. So immediately he's come up right away to support his teammate.
Where has Amaral gone?
Amaral's he's dropped right now. I can't see him. He is 25th.
25th at the moment. I'm not sure what's happened to him. Let's try and find out. He
stopped?
Parked in the pits.
He's out.
There he is. He's out of the race. I'm not quite sure why. Van der Ven also has had issues as well. So obviously issues off the grid. We lost a couple of drivers in warm-up as well. So clearly people not setting their games up correctly. All of course, we've got 24 drivers out there that not having any problems at the moment. So they just need to work on those settings a little bit, it would seem. But anyway, the battle is on at the front. Keithley is defending very hard indeed from Davis, who just has a little nibble into the final complex. That was going to the hairpin.
That was cheeky. This is a key passing spot as well. Look at that. Davis taking the wide line as he tries to get the switch back into the hairpin. It seems to work because he's now right there. And this is the pack this is the view that Keithley will have in his rearview mirror. This is the aggressive looking new Clio as they head down the pit straight. And that's history made. Our first racing lap of these new Clios is in the history books. And it's Jack Keithley who gets the honour. So it's Keithley from Davis, Tolborg, and Eric Strada's got a good start up a couple of places from. It was roughly around 5th or 6th on the grid, so he's up there a couple of spots into 4th. Kielov's down to 5th after starting on the front, starting 3rd. And as they head through Clairvaux, and then up through Hawthorne and the chicane for the second time. And Davis sticking with him as Scott Sovic's in the pits, I can see, from 22nd. And Florian Strauss has dropped down too. He's had a really poor first lap as well.
So. Oh, and into the... It was like contact there, perhaps, because they both went wide, and Davis has snuck through. Davis in the lead, look.
That was a fantastic opportunistic pass. If we can get a replay, that'd be fantastic. But you can see here now, and that's exactly how close Keithley is. This is the replay. They're down towards Tower, on board with Toby Davis. Now, let's have a look.
From Keithley, mistake from Keithley.
Arnie, mistake.
Too deep. Look at Davis sideways also. That was incredible stuff, and just snuck through.
And we spoke about this, didn't we? That the brakes on these new Clios are more rear biased. So when you get under the brakes, they snatch a lot more, especially on the rears. So that there's a lot more rear locking that you normally get compared to the fronts that you had on the old Clio. So that was very key in that mistake there. As Keithley again,
Keithley's back down the inside.
Into the complex, he's pushed him wide.
Oh, kicking off, and Keithley's run wide on the exit. Davis around the outside of the hairpin. Who's going to come out on top? It's Keithley. Of course, because that hairpin is so crucial to be on the inside for that. And somehow they kind of all come out nice and cleanly. But Keithley went for an opportunistic move. Let's just watch what happens down here into Clairvaux into turn 1 before we get a replay of that. Do you want to show a replay of that? But Davis comes from the inside again. No, we're not going to work this time around. This is fierce stuff. Fierce stuff.
This is excellent stuff. We've got a breakaway pack of 5 cars back. It's going to be 6 because Chris Hackman's piece of the action.
Joined onto it. Let's get a replay of that.
Absolutely.
For you and go on board with the race, who is now the race leader, and see exactly how that pass came to pass, as it were. There we go. That's the opportunistic pass you can make at Croft. It was forceful, and it just about had enough room, didn't it? Well, actually, in fact, he did go a bit wide, so perhaps it was a bit too forceful, Scott. What do you think?
Well, we said there's no love lost between THR Precision. That definitely proves it, because the Keithley just didn't leave anything on the table there. He just absolutely just elbows out, get out of it, Toby, and I've got that place. And he pushed it. He went wide a little bit as a result, but you have to take risks in these kind of races, especially with what's at stake. So Keithley knows he's the championship leader. He knows that the prize of the test drive with the VW Cup car is up for grabs. So he needs to take any opportunity he's got. But to be fair, Davis, there was a gap there, and Keithley took it.
Will Davis do the same? He's not quite as close as Keithley was, but I know from my knowledge of Toby and how he is, he'll be. Oh, and someone's hit the back of Toby into the final corner.
It wasn't Tolborg, surely.
His teammate has hit.
Oh, no.
Toby Davis, and Davis is back to 5th. Davis is back to 5th. Let's watch that on the replay. Let's just see if we can see exactly what happened. Let's see if we can see what we can see.
Watching that Chris Hack, so
this is on board with Kilo.
Oh, it was Tolborg.
It was Tolborg. Tolborg just tapped the back as Davis swung back across the track. I'm sure it's completely accidental. No, those two obviously do get on. They're teammates. We're back to live action, and Davis is back to 5th. 6th now is back, actually, because Hack has also got past. It must have happened down into... oh, no, in fact, actually, Davis must have run wide. I don't know. It must have happened on the straight, because Hack crossed the line behind, just from the timing. He crossed the line behind Davis, so obviously Hack got to run down the straight as a result of Davis being wide at the hairpin, not able to get a good run also, so he's lost 4 places. And now Keithley has almost a second lead, and he is disappearing as Eric Strawn applies the pressure, who's having his best run of the season by far so far in the Clios. These 2013 cars obviously suit him, or maybe just the fact that the Virtual Mini Challenge race, Virtual Mini Challenge Series has now finished. He's able to dedicate his time to this.
What was interesting was they've talked about that, because of course the champion, of course, was Robert Wiesenmuller, but the man who won the final races at Mid-Ohio was in fact Chris Butcher. And what's quite intriguing is that
he's out of the race, look, 24th and
he's out of the race as well. So he's obviously had enough already. He hates to clear so much, he thought he'd give up after a couple of laps. I joke, of course, I joke. That's rather unfortunate.
Oh, it's a top 7 now, or a top.
It is
still a top 6, but it's almost a top 7. Look, Ely and Adams are not far behind this group at all. Here are the battling two, and they're kind of dragging each other along, I think. Oh, look at the side door of Tom Ely. Somebody has been having a good old chew on Tom Ely's passenger door. He obviously didn't like the look of it and decided it looked a bit better when it was curvy instead of straight.
Well, maybe we should look at Dan Adams' front bumper. Maybe we see some teeth marks or something like, or whatever it is.
Some teeth marks. Certainly someone's had a good old chew on that. But no, Dan Adams is lovely and clean look. So
there we go.
it's obviously not Darren Adams who's had a.
No.
He's also got a bit of a
Do you reckon
stove in that
possibly?
side, so.
Do you reckon possibly it might have been because Amaral got a pretty decent start? Do you reckon maybe it was that could? Do you reckon Amaral could have been involved in that because he was near the front with Ely? So
I'm not sure
maybe
what's happened to Amaral.
dropped
He's
a
still
bit.
listed in 25th, but not just
No.
DNF, which is very strange. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. I'm presuming his DNF is just a timing glitch. But Rodriguez qualified his 17th. You were mentioning how far back on the grid he was. He's now 9th, so he's definitely sorted himself out in this race.
Yep.
We're only on lap 5, remember, of the 18th. And he's gained 8 places, almost certainly the biggest mover of the race. In fact, we've got here are the movers of the race. Toby has lost 5 positions, of course. Tolborg up 4, Strachan up 4. It's unusual actually for Tolborg because he's not usually the best of starters. Adams also, look at that, up 5. With Rasmus Salo up 12 places and Hughes up 16.
Yeah,
Van der
Monroe's
Bellen
up
went
11.
up 14, but he qualified in 10th, in fact, so we can't really trust that particular statistic.
Yeah, well, I did see Monroe also popped up quite a few spots.
Yeah,
He started about
has.
20. It was about 20. It's quite 24.
27th he started, so 11 positions.
There, thereabouts.
Oh, there's
Oh, that's-
Salo going. Was that Petzold? It was Salo going
There was
down
Salo.
the inside of Petzold.
Oh,
Petzold off the
Petzold
track
runs
as a
wide.
result as well. Tolborg passes lap, so he is definitely on it. Also, let's go back to the. We'll get rid of this for you. We've already shown you that. Here's the front of the grid.
Oh, and that was Davis and Strada going side by side on the exit of the hairpin. So that seems to be that that's Kilov, in fact. Sorry, Kilov and Strada went side by side, and Kilov made it through.
Oh, he's
So-
up into 3rd now, and it's a position sandwich at the front. And Tolborg
absolutely.
is the meat, and no
I'm
one
not
likes
sure
to
that-
be the meat.
No, especially not Jesper. He's
Oh,
he
and
wants to
Strahn's
say-
fighting back. No, he wants it back. He's on the grass.
Oh,
He's on the grass. It's contact. Where have they gone? They've gone off and they've gone wide. As
and
Hack's going to go through and
Davis-
take advantage once again. And look at that. Who's that involved?
Look at Chris Hack as well.
Background?
Look at Chris Hack as well into the Jim Clark. Guess this is
Oh,
very
he didn't-
risky
he
indeed
didn't-
and very
he didn't
fast
make
part
it.
of the course.
Didn't make it. Didn't quite get through. But Davis is through. Davis is back up to 3rd once again. So,
Oh!
Kilo's clearly good also, and he's gone flying off the track. Where has he gone? There he is. He's in the middle of the track.
He's out.
He's in the middle of the track, and he's retired from the race. He's out. That is Kilo, and he is over and out, and that's surely championship over and out. Also, here is a replay of that. He clips the curb and he just flies him off the track. Oh, and he's hit that wall very hard indeed, and that has destroyed Kilo's car and destroyed his championship also. Unbelievable stuff, Scott.
That's a shame, and that was all his own doing. You cannot blame it on anyone else but himself. That was a mistake that he made himself, and that was just simply. He's a racer. He races karts in real life, so he was trying to take as much curb as he could to get the optimal line. It just didn't work out for him, and he's paid the ultimate price, which means that he's retired from the race, and that's, as you said, costing valuable championship points going towards his thing. He's currently 4th.
His championship was already, hanging by a thread, and it's absolutely over now, unfortunately, and he will be livid. I can tell you that right now. He will be absolutely fuming. At himself, but I'm sure he'll direct it somewhere else, knowing Simon Kilo.
I think
he'll know in his heart of hearts that that is just a silly mistake. Whether he thought Strahn's move was fair or not, it looks like it just hard racing to me. Kilo came across, Strachan was already there, and But even if you don't feel like something was fair, you have to keep a calm head, don't you, Scott? You have to keep a calm head because then it's you making the mistake, and all you can do is blame yourself. And I'm afraid that has cost Simon Kilo very, very badly indeed.
I know when he had a major technical problem in a couple of race weekends back, he was very annoyed with that as well. He couldn't believe he dropped points there, so that's going to really be fuming. And to be fair, I wouldn't want to be in the precision pits when these guys get back, because I think they want to stay well out of the way of him, because that's probably not going to do well. But Keithley then is really under pressure now from Jesper Tolborg, who is setting a really lightning pace, the fastest lap of the race last time around, or a couple of laps ago. Across the line they come then, and Tolborg is now brought the gap down by another 1/10 of a second, so it's 3/10.
And this would worry me when I see Tolborg behind me, or if I see a broadcaster. I never see Tolborg behind me, by the way. That's a stupid thing to say. I've not seen him behind me since second season of World Supertech Series, so that's a moot point. Anyway, when you see Tolborg behind you, and it's the middle of the race, you know he's strong at the end of the race. So if he's just behind you in the middle of the race, where he's not quite as strong, you know you're going to be in trouble later on, because he has such excellent racecraft and excellent tyre wear and tyre management also. And if I was Jack Keithley, I would be worried, because unless Jack's also saving tyres, Turbo's going to be very strong at the end of this race, historically speaking. So these two are the most successful TPS drivers of all time. They are 1-2 in the Hall of Fame in all categories, and they have won 8, no less than 8 championships between them, Scott. Incredible stuff.
They have. And what's also key is that first, second, third in the race, also first, second, third in the championship right now, in that order. So Keith, the championship leader, leading, of course, Talbot second and Toby Davies third. So Toby's dropped to just hovering around the 3-second mark between the leader and himself, but he's got a very hungry Jesper Talbot, silent assassin, I think, because he never talks very much and always lets his driver do the talking on the track. As we now look on the exit of the hairpin onto the pit straight.
All he's doing here is just pressuring Keithley, making Keithley take different lines, which means it leads to higher tyre wear because you have to try harder on a different line, you know, to keep the same speed. So he's just showing his nose. He's not actually going for a pass. I know him too well. But the problem is, you know that if you leave the door open, he will go for it, even though he's not seriously going for it. He'll just take the opportunity anyway. So it's a no-win situation, really. It's lovely to have that track position, but it's horrible to have Talbot stalking you behind.
It is, and I think Keith is probably going to wish that he's able to just had a secret boost button or something to try and push him away, because the gap is now still 0.3 of a second.
Manizewski also out of the race as well, so we've got plenty of retirements from this race. That's very unusual for a Clio event. Of course, these are brand new cars. That could be something to do with it. Oh, look at the side of Strahn's car. That must be where he came into contact with Kilo, I would say, on the left side of his car. So that shows how that piece of contact was as they skittered their way around the outside of Tower Bend in the end. Chris Hack has just kept his nose clean and his powder dry, and he's just waiting for an opportunity. He already picked up from Toby Davis, of course, and then almost picked up from Simon Kilo, and then did subsequently anyway because of the crash. And he's up in 5th spot, and this would be his best result since 2nd place at the last round of the last season, which of course was a virtual Clio Series 3, even though it has a slightly different name. Tom Onslow-Cole Clio Series has carried on, for those who are a bit confused, has carried on from that virtual Clio Series we had before, so we have continuity of records. And look at this back, in the back of the pack.
Someone off? Sorry, I think I saw someone. Just saw someone go very wide on the exit of the complex towards the hairpin. I didn't quite see exactly who it was, but I did someone go very, very wide. It might have been someone possibly.
But Rodriguez is now ahead of Adams. Look at that. Rodriguez has got a great run out of the hairpin, but he's on the outside, and that's not really the place to be. Tries to do the cutback, but there's no room on the inside there either. It's such a difficult part of the track that there, Scott, because you come through that first corner, it's nice and wide. I mean, there's the anti-cups there, but you kind of half use them a little bit. Then suddenly it narrows. You know, you've got one line, and it's tight all the way around, and it ruins your tyres as well. It ruins your left arm as well as you're turning. So. That's a very difficult part of the track, and again, Adams having to defend this corner here with its bump in the middle of it, and these Clios, which are very, very sharp on their brakes, is the most difficult corner on the track, I found at least anyway, because every single lap you're thinking, oh, am I gonna lock the rear brakes heading into this corner, and you often do as well. So taking a different line through there is doubly dangerous.
It is, and also look what's key behind. Look who's caught up with these guys here. Is now inside the top 10. Rasmus Salo started from near the back of the field. He's really coming out strong into the top 10. So look at that. Took advantage of Peter Rodriguez, who ran wide through sunny out, and that's given a great run. Great run down towards the complex. Sweeps around the outside. Thank you very much, Pipo. That's now into 8th place now.
Look at who's behind this group as well, though. Jimmy Hughes started right at the back of the grid, and he's right with these guys. These guys are the drivers who have battled through the pack after poor qualifying. And Hughes is through Rodriguez. Rodriguez has gone back 2 positions. Look, costly lap for Rodriguez.
I could see that coming because he outbraked himself into the hairpin, and that just gave Jimmy Hughes a free pass, quite literally, because that into the hairpin. And Rodriguez will try and attack back again into Clairvaux, but I think Hughes has got the line and the advantage.
Hughes looks to me like he's absolutely flying, and he looks like he's got the fastest car of all of these drivers right now.
He does. Looking back, John Monroe is only back in 15th, hasn't made too much progress since we last talked about it, so that's quite a shame, as Rodriguez went a little wide, kicks up a lot of dust on the exit of the chicane onto the back straight, going towards Tower Bend.
Oh,
Nick Hughes!
That was Nick Hughes! He's disappeared, he thinks he's crossing. In the background as well, there's Van der Ven and Monroe going wide as well. Oh, Monroe in fact, and that means Monroe's now 14th. The Peclat is 15th, which means Hughes back to 16th. That was disastrous for Nick Hughes. A bit too greedy on the inside, Scott.
That's one for the end of the season montage. Jesus, that was Just incredible.
How about that for timing on the camera shot? Just
that was.
blind look
That
that
was
time around. We've
incredible.
got a perfect view.
Incredible, but now he's going to do it all again. He's now chasing off Luke of Pecklash, and there he is. In fact, I'm not quite sure that the smiley, the face on the bonnet, it represents the face that Nick Heath when he was on two wheels.
I would say definitely not. In fact, he just haven't. Just like, see if we can quickly show you. It's not very professional to show this right now, but this view. But
yes.
Look, that's the view. That's the face. I'm pretty sure he would have right now.
Or something to that effect. It's a little tribute to Carl Pilkington. So. That's fantastic to see that, but let's see what he can do now. He's trying to fight his way back up to the. Oh, that's Carl Pilkington, the cartoon version.
It looks more like Charlie Brown to me, and Charlie Brown was never happy either, so that kind of works. Back to the front of the field. We have shown you through the field. Now let's get back to the story at the front. It's still Keithy leading, so it's not.
Oh, Strana's taken third. Strana's taken third.
And he's gaining on the leaders, would you know?
And Chris Hack is now right on the back bumper of Toby Davis, I just noticed, for fourth place. But there he is.
What's going on here? Because Strana's also gained on the leaders. Strana was 3.7 seconds behind, with Davis 3 seconds behind last time we checked. So Strana's not only passed Davis, he's gained 1.4 seconds also. So either the leaders have got into a bit of a battle, and Davis has made a mistake, or Strana is absolutely flying. Let's monitor that gap.
Well, this is the thing I've said so many times before on broadcast, that the harder the guys at the front fight each other, the easier it is for the guys around them to take advantage. For if you've got guys in front of you and you're battling, you know, it's easier for them to pull away. For the guys behind it, it's easier for you to catch up, because you're not focusing just on pure pace. All you're focusing on is either defending or getting past the guy in front or behind, depending on which scenario you're in. So it's no surprise to see Strana taking advantage of that. And in fact, Toby's now must have made a mistake somewhere, because he's still kept the pace. And he's still right there with Strana, because he's caught back up again onto the back bumper. You can see he's closed the gap up, and they're all closing the gap.
Strana's lost gap to the leaders through that sector, and oh no, he's gained actually.
He's
gained
back
sector.
again.
So it's intriguing, isn't it? It really is intriguing.
Well, the thing is that effectively now that he's now got a 2-second gap between himself and Keithy, who leads, and Talborg is still giving Keithy quite a few headaches as they head on to. There's now on lap 13 of 18, so they've still got another 5 laps to go. So Strana now looking good for a podium at the moment, unless Davis has any other further ideas and forces his way back through. And Chris Hack's also there to take advantage as they squirrel under brakes. This is on board with Talborg, as we now watch the back end of Championship leader Jack Keithy on the exit of Tower Bend, watching the grass on the left hand side up towards the Jim Clark S's, very fast part of the circuit, through the left, through the right. Huge entry cut, which is just there was what tipped over Simon Keilov as he
actually
had that monumental accident.
You know, Scott, it's just down
yes,
here.
That's right.
And
Sorry,
he went into the end of that tyre wall there, and that was it.
That was it, and that could be it.
Keithy was a bit understeering through Sunny in. Then look at the speed that Talborg's carried through Sunny out. Keithy could be under attack into the second part of complex here. Look at that! Oh, and Talborg's just tried a bit too hard, and there goes the opportunity. I would say yes, it does. So, but Talborg won't be too unhappy about that. He's right with him. There are 5 laps to go, and we all know how well Keithy can race and how well he can defend a piece of track off because he goes deep. And Talborg just momentarily had to change his line ever so slightly to make sure he didn't collect the side of Jack Keithy. But remember, the only reason Talborg is even in this position is because near the start of the race, he caught the back of his teammate Toby Davis and sent him wide and sent Toby Davis back, and that caused the next chain of events a couple of laps later with Simon Keilov and Strana and all of those happening. So it shows that one small tap by Talborg should completely change the definition of this race.
It does. Just looking at the gaps there, I can see Toby Davis was about 0.2 of a second behind Strana as he went across the line.
But look at this, Keithy having to defend every single corner almost at the moment.
Absolutely. Oh, Talborg's going to try it round the outside though. Keithy's
better of it.
Going to cut him off though. That was pretty. That was smart moving from Keithy there. We can see this fantastic new bonnet camera. It's more realistic to what we have with the real UK Red End Clios. But look at this, the bumper camera we're seeing here. That's just how close he is to Keithy.
Oh, he's pushed too hard in that middle sector, run wide. It's very bumpy out there. There's not much grip either. And look at that, he's lost a little bit of speed as a result. And it's so important. There is a tiny bit of camber here at Sunny Inn, and because of the way that you approach the corners and you're already loaded up on the left hand side, it's so important to get that tiny bit of camber. If you miss that camber, it's good in that Irene, because you clip the grass on the outside, you go sideways, you lose a couple of seconds, and we see in Clios that means you lose several positions, or you do a kilo and you hit the barrows on the outside. Oh, that was a great shot. How close? Torbo want to get to the back of Keithley at the moment. And
Absolutely.
Davis and Strawn are in battle here, and Davis going around the outside of Strawn at the hairpin, which means he's got a great run off it and has the inside if he wanted it into the first corner. But of course, he had such a good run, he just switched to the outside, taking the optimal line, thank you very much, and takes the position away from the Swede. And these two are gaining on the lead, as you know. Because of Keithley defending almost every single corner at the moment, it's costing him, 2, 3, 4 tenths a lap. And these two, even though they've just passed each other, they are still gaining. And Hack, look at him, he's right there saying, you boys, you just fight it out, I'll pick up the pieces, thank you very much.
He's doing that right now.
Just looking back at the midfield, we talked about Ely's had a very low in the race. Not talked too much about Ely. He's done well to come through from a poor qualifying. But Adams and now Strauss has got ahead of Jimmy Hughes. I was just about to mention Jimmy Hughes was
look at the front of that Clio.
8th. Is that Strauss? Look at the front of wow!
It's just stoved in. How's he still got an engine? That's incredible.
What has Florian Strauss done to the front of his car? How is that even still working? Florian Strauss. I know he likes to design things, but that's taking it a bit extreme.
Well, it's in better. Put it this way, it's in better condition than Kilos is right now. That's
very true, but that's marginal. The only thing it has better than Kilo's car is got 4 wheels instead of 3.
And a front
he has
bumper.
Really destroyed the front of that car at some point. I wonder if a couple of the drivers we've seen with damage in their doors were a result of Strauss, because he was around about this area when he started the race, and he's fought his way back through to 8th spot. Looks like he's got great pace because he's come through this pack pretty quickly. Davis is still gaining on the leaders. Strawn is kind of keeping status quo. So we'll stick with that. We'll stick with this battle at the back. At the back, so it's right in the midfield, isn't it? It's right in the bottom half of the top half, if you like. The second quarter, if we were going to use American football terms. They have quarters in American football, right?
I guess it's you're asking the wrong person.
You're asking the wrong person. I thought you were a fountain of knowledge, Scott.
Well, usually about motorsport, it's American football, not something I watch, unfortunately. So
no, neither do I. It's far too boring for somebody who's used to normal football.
But nonetheless, watching Strauss, he's got a nice run on down Adams down the back, so it looks to the outside down towards Tower Bend. Adams will defend that outside line, but that's not going to stop. Strauss looks around the outside.
It work. No,
it has worked.
It has worked.
He's got it through. He's done it.
Oh, it's
fantastic pass.
Adams is still there.
Adams is still there. This is going to be deadly. Jim Clark getting side by side.
And the anti-cups will be there as well, so it's not dangerous. Oh, and Strauss around the outside. He sticks it.
That was
incredible stuff. Just about got through, and Adams stuck it out, but Strauss was determined. I'm sitting behind you. I'm going through. Let's watch a replay of that, because that was incredible stuff. This is the view looking back. Oh, how close Adams.
Now then,
that's anti-cups.
That could be interesting, because Strauss, technically, he was outside the white line, so I'm not sure how the stewards are going to look with that one.
That's very close, isn't it? Because also, as well, you could argue that Adams was there, he was just trying to give Adams room.
Yeah, and there was...
Oh, and Hughes down the inside. Hughes back down the inside of Adams, and Adams, just like Rodriguez earlier, has lost 2 positions in the lap. In fact, speaking of Rodriguez, he has dropped way back from this group, so I don't know whether fighting his way through the pack early on has hurt his tyres a lot, but either way, he's dropped back from the group. Anyway, he's now penultimate lap. We're going to stop talking about the people in the midfield. We're going to talk about the front runners, because the gap between Davis and Keith is 1.6 seconds with just 1.5 laps to go. So anything Torborg attempts here could put Davis right on the back of Torborg. Oh, he squeezed. It wasn't quite enough room, and Keith is still ahead somehow.
That was borderline. The borderline kind of. Look for the word. There's borderline acceptable defending there from Keith. He really didn't give Talborg.
But borderline's acceptable.
Yeah, borderline
acceptable for a reason.
Yeah.
It's within the bounds.
Absolutely, but it's that obviously Talborg won't look on that one very kindly, shall we say? And that has given Davis a slight bit more of an advantage now to close in. You can see the gap is visibly closer, and it's 1.3 now, and he's bringing Strong with him
as well. If Torborg has a go and there's any kind of small side-by-side contact at all, we're going to have a 4-way fight for this win. We could see Strawn nip through and get the win, conceivably. Maybe even Hack if they really get involved. And now look at how defensive Keithy's having to be into the hairpin. And Davies allowed to take the optimal line. I'll come out and get another couple of attempts from you guys. And it's the final lap. Can Keithy hold on? What do you think, Scott?
Possibly. He may have to pull
possibly. That's not an answer.
Out of his bag. all right, yes. I think that's the defensive answer, but we'll find out. Into Clermont for the last time then. into Clever for the last time, and Keithley's still holding on through Hawthorns. You can see Tubble's taking a slightly wider line to try and get a better run through the chicane. Ooh, that was marginal there on the undercuts to the inside.
That's precision.
And look at how Davis is close. The gap's now between him and the leader. It's now 0.8 of a second. It's half a second behind his teammate. Is Tubble going to make a dive down into Tower Bend? He's not close enough, but he closes under braking as they head into Tower Bend.
This is the part of the race where the tyres are screaming, oh, stop using me, please. I've done enough for one day. And as a driver, you're just begging them, give me an extra 1% more when it gets past. And it's just,
and look at
it's
Davis.
so frustrating. It's such a balancing act.
Davis is getting very, very close on this one as they head to Barcroft. Tubble closed under braking again. He's going to have to make a move at some point. They're into Sunny Inn.
It's so easy to defend
He's
here
right
in the final
on
complex,
still
though,
there.
so it's going to be very interesting indeed. Still,
he's got a great run.
Keithley.
He's got a great run down towards the complex, so if he can get himself alongside for one of these corners here,
where Keithley passed Davis for the lead, remember? This is where Davis passed Keithley for the lead. Oh, Keithley doesn't leave the gap.
There's a bit of hip in his shoulder.
Oh,
Keithley's wide. There's more contact.
Here comes Davis down the inside. He's going to take both of them. No, he's not. Neither of them. Torborg around the outside. I'm sure Keithley will just lead it ever so slightly to make sure there's no gap there. Oh, and he's going to hold on to it. Keithley's going to take the win here. Keithley's 4th win of the season. He extends his championship lead. What a drive. What a drive from Keithley, and incredible stuff here. The top 4 within 1 second of each other. We said that this race would be good, and boy did it live up to that expectation, Scott.
Well, what a way to christen these 2013 Clios. What a race to debut them in, because that was absolutely exceptional. That was brilliant stuff, especially the final few laps. And I said it before, these two guys, Keithley and Tubble, battling amongst each other, it just allowed Davis and Strana, who I'm guessing in that period whilst they were battling, just hung back a little bit in their laps, just conserved their tyres a bit more, and that allowed them to close in, and that's what made this finish so brilliant. So Keithley will be happy with that. It salvaged something for THR, because of course those points will help strengthen their place at the top of the team's championship. Of course, THR already lead it from Precision. Eric Strana, he'll be happy with that for 4th place as well. Looking down the rest of the field, Rasmus Solid did manage to get to 10th. Peter Rodriguez was only 11th. John Monroe was only 13th, so he won't be pleased with that. He wants a lot more despite starting from the back of the field, but still, that's a gain of about 14 places, so that's not too bad, but of course, it's not going to be any consolation with the fact that he's not really going to score any decent points from that position. But great for opening race for these new Clios, and I'm pretty sure that it's only going to open the door for some great racing going forward into race 2. Yeah,
of course. Remember, guys, we're going to do it all over again. I can't wait. See you after the break.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be #1 on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Hello and welcome back to Touring Pro Series, Tom Onslow-Cole Clio Series. So the Tom Onslow-Cole Clio Series is organised by us, Touring Pro Series, on behalf of Tom Onslow-Cole and Team Hard, the BTCC team. Remember, these drivers are fighting for their chance to win a fully expenses-paid test drive in a Volkswagen Racing Cup car at Brands Hatch, courtesy of Team Hard and Tony Gillam Racing. We saw an excellent race in race 1. Scott, what do you reckon?
Oh, as I said at the time we finished it, what a way to christen these brand new 2013 Clios. That was a race fitting of these kind of cars. We had some major implications, of course, for the championship. Of course, Keithley took another victory, but only just. Top 4 cars separated by less than a second. So, of course, it was Keithley winning from Talborg and Davis. Of course, the win strengthens Keithley's championship lead in the driver's standings. Championship-wise, in the team standings, it's going to help THR Orange cement their first place at the top of the standings as well. Major implications for Simon Keeler, though. He retired about halfway through when he hit an anti-cut strip on the inside of Barcroft and launched him into one almighty shunt, which destroyed the front of his Clio. And unfortunately, it meant he scored 0 points today, which is rather unfortunate because this is now 3 races now where he's now not scored any points because the 2 results he scored back in Most were taken away from him on a technicality. So this really is starting to harm his championship chances. He needs some good luck. Effectively, he needs to try and at least grab pole position for this second race.
I would say he needs a miracle. In fact,
he does.
A lot of drivers need a miracle with the way Jack Keithley's going at the moment, with his lead in the championship. Remember, these are the standings in the championship. And look, Keithley already had a big lead before that race. So he's ticked off 1 more race for the rest of the season. So 7 races to go, 3.5 rounds. And he's extended that lead by another 3 points over Talborg because they finished 1st and 2nd in that race. So it shows how difficult it's going to be to overhaul Jack Keithley. They have to hope Jack Keithley has a poor result at some point because that gap is too big for you to overhaul, even if you just win every single race.
Well, it's interesting because Jack seems to be really suiting these touring cars at the moment. Of course, his other commitments in single seaters, but he's not doing too bad in his single seater commitments in other leagues. But it's touring cars where he's really showing his strengths at the moment. In fact, I'm pretty sure possibly this series is probably more on his mind because of the fact of what's at stake at the moment, which isn't surprising if you ask me. But we're now in the second qualifying session for race 2. So this is now, and we say it again, Toby Davis is doing his usual traits of going out right at the beginning of the session. So
he was
we'll
pole
see exactly how
position
he
last
gets
time,
on.
remember, guys? So
He was.
Pole position last time around. Who do you think will get pole this time around, Scott? Let's have a prediction.
Well, as I've said before, race 2 usually brings up a surprise pole sitter. We've had it several times now, so it's tough to call, really.
I'm gonna go with Florian Strauss then.
You're going to go with Strauss?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Strauss. Because it's usually a surprise. To say Florian Strauss to be on pole position isn't a surprise, you would say normally. He's one of the most successful drivers in the Touring Pro Series, one of the most respected as well. But in these Clios, it would be a surprise because I don't think he's ever actually had a pole position. Maybe one at Autumn Ring in Season 2. He does have a win in Clios. This is just off the top of my head. I haven't checked the stats. If you want to check the stats, you can go to our GPCOS, which is results.touringproseries.com, and lots of statistics there for you to peruse and previous results. All details are there. But he does have a win at Toban in Season 1 in these cars. Well, obviously not in these cars because we just changed for this event. But yeah, I'm going to go with Flory. What do you reckon, Scott?
I'm going to be interested here. I'm actually going to say because he didn't get a run in and he wants to try in race 1 because of other certain technicalities on track, and even though he only measures about 13th in race 2, I'm going to have a shout at John Monroe. I think. I mean, he's got
John
some
Monroe.
pace, I reckon. So yes, I reckon he might be in with a shout possibly. But we're now going to get the benchmark again from Toby Davis.
Of course, we've got no idea how fast John Monroe can go because he didn't manage to make a lap time.
But we'll find out soon enough.
Davis
goes
31-1,
so that's
a 10th slower than he was last time out. John Monroe goes 31.5, so there's that theory out of the window.
That's exactly. I was going to say. I was like, I was hoping. As soon as I saw that, I was like. As soon as I saw that, I was like.
Talbot goes second, 31.2. So drivers are about a 10th slower than they were last time around. And Davis, if he'd set that time last. Oh, and Talbot comes through the first corner. Just a bit of a show. Lennon's gone 7th. As I just say, sorry I'm trying to finish off a point quickly. Davis, if he'd set that lap time in quali 1, would have started 4th. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Strawn, where can he end up? Not going to be It's going to be fourth.
Fourth.
1.583. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Powell goes into 10th. Adji's in 11th at the moment. Last of the people who've set a lap time. Keithy's coming out of the pits. Hack's not out of the pit yet. Neither is Ely. Pecklack goes 12th.
Or Strauss.
Strauss
Strauss
not
isn't
out either.
left pits yet.
Nikius goes 13th. Salo not out yet either. Or Petzold. Or Jacobs.
Keithy is.
Keithy's just gone out of track.
Amaral is too.
Amaral's on track. So we'll go with Amaral, actually, in fact, because he was very quick. I don't think he managed to get to the grid. Some kind of distraction at home. I know he has a young child, I think 2 or 3 years old. So maybe the child nicked the remote. She'd done that before at Verano. He had to park at the side of the road while he chased his daughter around the house and told her off and nicking the remote, turning the screen off. it's funny now, but I'm sure it wasn't funny at the time because poor Amaral was running well at Verano. But let's see what Amaral can do this time around. He definitely has the potential to get a pole position, I think.
I'm sure something was said in Portuguese. They're saying, "Can you please give back the remote because I have a race to run?" So it's not something to that effect.
It may not have been that polite.
I was trying. Obviously, this is effectively is a PG broadcast, if you like. So I'm trying to.
Yes.
Look at that!
Look at that! A 10th up in the first sector.
I think you're right there. He could possibly be in the shattered pole here. I think. So am I allowed to change my bet from jumping
No,
on
you
my road
can't
to
change a bet. I'm not changing mine. I'm Strauss. I'm stuck with Strauss, unfortunately. Now I've picked Amaral, so Amaral could be right. I don't think he managed to get to the grid, so he didn't come up as a DNF because he didn't actually press race to get to the grid. So that's the issue. Sorry, my apologies. We've been doing the qualifying session so far, 4 minutes of it without any sound. I do apologise for that because these cars do sound delicious as well with these turbos in them. Sound very raspy. Everyone's immediately because everyone's sick of the droning 2-litre 4-cylinder noise of the old Clios and naturally aspirated whining and they love these. He has lost time. They love the whistle and pop of this new turbo.
I'll tell you something. I love the best sound this Clio makes is when you come off the throttle, when you hear the overrun, and when it kind of burbles, when you hear the burble of the kind of like
I love it on the pit speed limit when you go coming down the pit road. It sounds excellent. But Amaral has lost time, like you say, in that final second
Keithy's
sector.
purple though.
It looks like Davis maybe was a bit slow through that first sector. Amaral comes across the track. He's fourth. He doesn't even get ahead of Munro in the end. So that shows how quick Davis was in that final sector. Wow. Because
you want to go with
Amaral
Keithy though.
Lots of time. Yeah, let's get to Keithy.
Keithy's currently purple at the moment.
Where is Keithy? He's 17th.
He's 70, and so Strauss. So you might be right with that as well. Strauss is flying on too.
I think that first sector wasn't anything special from Toby Davis. I think it's the next 2 sectors which has got him out of jail that way. Because certainly drivers are going faster. Keithy's still up, but he lost a bit of time. That's a few hundredths of a second. He did that actually in the last qualifying session, in fact, didn't he? So let's see whether he can this time hold on to that advantage. Butcher goes 9th. 1.8. So he'll be pleased with that. He'll have been practicing between races, I'm sure, to try and get himself up in the order. So Keithy out of the final corner, sticks to the right hand side of the road. Unlike Amaral, who came across, cost himself maybe 3rd position, in fact, actually. And Keithy, no, look, he
done it again.
Do it. And he's behind even Torborg this time. So it's a 1-2.
And Lauritsen jumps into 4th.
Lauritsen 4th. Munro 5th. So it's 1-2 THR. 3-4-5 Precision at the moment. Kilo is out of track.
Hack's flying along as well.
Well,
look at that.
I'm not sure if that's a lap. Yes, it is. It is a flying lap from Hack. Let's go on board with him. Well, not on board with him. Let's watch him as he's coming now out of Sunny Out. Out of Sunny Out. That sounds complete. Oh, sorry. That's Tower Bend. Sorry, should I say? I don't recognise the track. Honest. So
he's now heading through.
Strauss has gone 4th. Strauss has gone 4th. So I did better than Scott with the surprise prediction, at least. Anyway.
Only by 2/10.
By 2/10. Hey, 2/10 is a lot of time in these Clios.
That's true. That's true. Hack is he still up? Let's have a look. As yet, it's Sunny out. Let's find out.
But here,
no, he's lost time.
He's down.
That must have been a mega second. That must have been a mega second sector from Toby Davis then.
Yeah,
it was absolutely
and the final
incredible.
sector looks mega as well because Keithy obviously dropped time when he was up in the second sector.
That's right.
As Petzold goes 9th, that means Butcher's down to 13th already. He was 9th just a couple of minutes ago. Hack loves that narrow line at the final corner. I tell you, he loves pushing through the middle of the complex. Looked like he was a bit off entering the complex. I understand why. So it doesn't look like. I don't think he's going to challenge the top 5 even in the end. He's 6th.
Just about.
Just behind
far off,
Lauritsen.
though. He's only about 300ths off, so he wasn't too far away from the top 5.
So where is Kilo, though? And Ely? Kilo
is on a lap now.
He is. Where is Ely around his lap? Ely is just about to
start. He's just about to start it.
So we have just 4 drivers on track setting their lap times. Salo will finish 1st. So we'll go on board with Salo and see. Oh, he's up!
Look at
He's
that.
up at the moment on his team boss.
That's in
He's
sector 2,
brand
of
new
course.
team boss, Toby Davis, and that looks lovely and tidy through there. He's a bit conservative perhaps, but I'm sure they'll all bear out in the end. What can he do? Heading into the final corner, takes the wide line. Oh, he's gone too deep!
Oh,
no, he's lagged out.
Was
It's
it
okay.
lag? I
Just
think it was
lagged out
lag.
for a second there. Oh, I thought
This
it
could be
was,
pole then. So Rasmus
Could be
Sala
pole.
sprints towards the line. And is it going to be pole position? The answer is... No, he lost time, more
fifth,
time.
Look at that. He's
Fifth.
just
Kilov's
1.5 tenths
up,
off.
though.
And he's on the third row.
Kilov's up by 600ths in the second sector, so this could
He
be
is
possibly him
indeed.
to get on the front row. So let's see if we can quickly grab him. There he is. So Kilov then will want to try and banish the memories of
Well,
race
this is where
1.
everyone's losing their time. This final sector, Davis has absolutely murked this final sector, as Rio Ferdinand would say.
Oh goodness, you know.
And there we go. That was for a bet. I apologise.
Anyway.
Kilo now coming out the final corner.
I'm
Will
not
he do
sure.
it?
No,
Is
I
it
don't think he's got
pole?
it. No.
It's not.
No,
Look
he
at that.
lost more
He's
time.
on the second row and just a tenth behind. Jacobs goes 26th. Wow, something bad has happened there.
But what's
And
incredible-
Ely is the last one to set a lap time. Here we
What's
are.
What's incredible is we've got THR front row, and the next 2 rows are locked out. Well, I was going to say, it's locked. The second row is locked out by Precision. That Strauss and Salo on row 3, then Lauritsen and Hack on row 4, Monroe and Amaral on row 5. So a really nice mixed up top 10 with some really quality drivers.
Lauritsen set that qualifying time and was 4th in qualifying 1. So that shows the and Ely goes 18th. He will not be happy with that. But then again, he's 18th, Scott, and the viewers, and he's only 8 tenths behind Toby Davis. He's 8 tenths behind the pole sitter, and he's 18th, 9 rows back.
It just shows how competitive this
incredible.
how closely it's bunched up. These new Clios have bunched up the field even more. We thought it was close with the old Clios, but these guys really have made it. Because it's intriguing, isn't it? Because what it's done is it's helped some drivers who maybe weren't as competitive as they may have been before in the old Clios. But it's for some drivers, they jumped straight into it. They felt right at home because there's a bit more power. There's a better suspension system. They're roughly just made a tiny bit better aerodynamically as well. Of course, they've got a smaller engine, but it's turbocharged as well, so maybe they like the characteristics of the engine as well.
There's more torque at the low end as well, so that's very different.
Absolutely.
When it comes out of the slow corners now. You have to manage that a little bit more, and perhaps that's bringing the field together again. And Amaral ended up 10th in the end. We actually didn't sort out where he ended up in the end, and I win by 4 positions in the Ryan versus Scott contest of the surprise pole sitter, which didn't happen. So we were both wrong, basically.
We were.
Although some are more equal than others.
Well, in my defence, if it's in a constellation in the back of my mind, and this is genuine, I'm not saying just because you took pole, I was genuinely at first going to say Toby Davis again for pole.
Well, that would have been boring, Scott.
Yeah, I know, but still, but still, if I'd taken it, I still would have beaten you. So
any old person could have predicted Toby Davis to get pole position.
Anyway.
I just played along with your game. I was going to say Toby all along.
Yeah, okay.
I was actually going to say Kilo, to be honest.
Should we run through the grid before we get to
go on, Scott. Yeah, we've got 3 minutes to waste here.
Because we normally run through the grid at this point during what we've got so carried away talking about other things. We only got to chance to run
Well, we
through
couldn't do it in race 1 properly because people were leaving and coming in because of the problems.
That's true.
But now we've got a settled grid, so Scott is going to take you through it.
Right. So we've got a full settled grid for race 2. Then round 7 here, the Tom Onslow-Cole Clios at Croft. And it's an all-precision, all THR front row lockout with Toby Davis again on pole, just about 300ths ahead of teammate Jesper Talbot. Jack Keithley starts on row 3, on row 2 in 3rd, with Simon Kielov alongside him for an all-precision 2nd row. Row 3 for Florian Strauss, and Rasmus Salo with a much better qualifying this time for 6th. So that's going to be really intriguing to see how he gets on now he's inside the top 10 and quite right in the middle of it as well. So he's going to be a man to watch. Now he doesn't have to carve his way through. Alexander Lauritsen didn't really do anything in race. He didn't turn up for race 1, so he's going to be an unknown factor for Croft as well in this 2nd race. Chris Hack had a great run in race 1 to finish 5th. So he will then start in 8th on the grid. And we've got John Monroe who's starting much higher, actually got a lap time in this time to start 9th. And rounding up the top 10 is Pedro Amaral. Just outside the top 10, but not too far behind, is Eric Strana for Ice Cold after his great run in race 1 to finish 4th. Heinz Petzold starts 12th for Core Racing. On row 7, we've got Pipe Rodriguez and Jimmy Hughes in the driving for GT Competizione, but racing in the default livery this time because the GT team, Competizione team, haven't painted his car up in time. And Jimmy Hughes for Walk Racing. Darren Adams and Chris Butcher starting in row 8, so Butcher again back in the field on 16th. Davy van der Venne and Tom Ely start on row 9 with AD Racing, and Tom Ely again didn't have not a fantastic qualifying for him again either. Gary Lennon back in 19th alongside him Scott Sobick, 20th course with his 100th TPS race back in race 1, so congratulations to Scott.
101st now.
101st now, in fact, yeah.
No,
So
and
now past that.
the last race was not happy for him, so I'm sure he wanted to forget that anniversary.
No, I'm sure you will. Not the way you want to spend your 100th race, getting punted out the first couple of laps. Robert Powell and Jay Adji will start on row 12. So Jay Adji is at the back, the slowest of the THR machines, in fact, in 24th place. And then near the back of the field, we've got Luca Peklash in 25th for Core Racing. We've got Nick Hughes for. I daren't say the whole name of that. All it's saying is Smile. It's a
anybody
long...
who follows TPS, it's an incredibly long name. It's something like Shark Skins with Smile Power and Mike Bell's seal of quality
seal of
racing.
approval, or something to those. But we're just going to call it Smile. It's such
Yes,
a
it is
ridiculously
Smile
long
Power.
name.
We'll just go with that. It's much
I
easier.
love the fact also with the seal of approval, there is an actual Mike Bell seal of approval with Mike's face on it.
Yes,
which
there
is
is.
rather comical. But
our drivers
anyway.
all get on together very well indeed, and there's plenty of humour about in all of it.
Absolutely. Even though in some of the interviews, like for example THR and Precision, even though for the most part, I know it sometimes sounds that none of them do, and in some cases that is the case. But at the back of the grid is Thomas Jacobs, just to round that off the 27 cars we have starting this race. So, yeah, it's TPS is a good community. Of course, we've got our forums hosted on Inside Sim Racing, which is always very thankful to them. Of course, to Darren and to Sean and to everyone there who've always put together a fantastic programs on their YouTube page. So good shout out to them, of course, and also thanks, of course, to people at GamePod, of course, for constantly supporting us. Of course, to Tom Onslow-Cole and to Tony Gillam and everyone at Team Half for supporting. Of course, everyone at SimSync Pro too as well. And
there are too many people to name. I mean, the people who make the tracks and the people who create the cars and the textures and you could go on forever. I mean,
of course, we have to say thanks. We have to say thanks, of course, to the guys who made this mod, because of course they were the guys who made the 2013 Clio mod, because they're the same guys who made the 2008 one. So they've provided a very loyal service. I suppose not just to us, but of course everyone who's a fan of the
sim racing in general. Yeah,
absolutely. So they've brought a fantastic new edition of the Clios. Of course, if you're wondering, if you follow BTCC and haven't actually seen these Clios in real life, it's because the real life UK Renault Clio Cup hasn't actually switched over to these cars yet. They will do next year, but if you look at the Clio competitions on the continent, especially the ones which will follow the World Series by Renault.
I think it's only Spain, that has the cars from the start. Because Spain's league started in only June, I think, or maybe very late May, so they were able to roll the cars out quicker. Whereas the Renault Clio Cup UK, because you haven't seen those cars because they weren't rolled out quickly enough for the season of 2013 for the UK Championship, because it started in April. So that's the reason for discrepancy there. But you will see these cars next year. But we are ahead of the curve, Scott. Ahead of the
we are
ahead of the curve.
I was going to mention, in fact, that speaking of those new Cup cars next year, I do know, in fact, that a local person near where I am. In Norwich, in fact, Josh Files, who's a Norwich-based driver, he actually tested the 2013 new Clio. He tested it back in April this year, and up at Snetterton. And compared to the existing lap record for the current Clios they're using, he was almost 2 seconds faster, 1.9 to be exact.
Wow.
The previous lap record around the Silverstone 300 layout was 2 minutes and 8.937 seconds, and in the lap he actually set in the Nuclear Cup car was 2 minutes 7.001, so pretty much 2 seconds difference in that one, which is absolutely fantastic.
And that's without him having lots of time in the car also. I mean,
absolutely.
Experience more like the 2010 model, I guess they're racing in real life at the moment, but it's just a facelift of a facelift, the 2010 model of the 2006 model to begin with. So, but this is a brand new Clio, the first for first for 7 years, an actual brand new, from pretty much the ground up, and it's in collaboration with other manufacturers, as new cars often are these days, as they spread the cost and look to share components and whatever. So this is a complete era change for Renault themselves in just obviously in that car market. And there's actually one of these Clios that's parked that gets parked on my street quite a bit. My street is quite posh, I have to say. We just get quite a few Mercedes and Aston Martins and BMWs and all kinds parked on my street, even though I'm a scumbag. Anyway,
I've seen.
there has been a 2013 Clio parked outside a couple of days, and it looks, in the flesh, one of the sporty versions, looks absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. It doesn't do it justice in pictures or even on track where we are now. It looks beautiful in the flesh. It looks absolutely, well, in the metal, should I say. It looks absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. I've had a Ferrari 458 drive through my areas. Will that suffice?
No, it will not suffice. They park on my street.
Right. Would you like me to call the start on this one?
If you go ahead.
Okay then. So then,
Right.
race 2 of round 7 of the Tom Onslow-Cole Clios. We've got the lights up. Lights are red. Lights are green, lights out, and away we go. Then second race, great start from Toby Davis on the inside, and there was Tobble slot.
And look at Kilo again with a terrible start.
Keithley's pushing up to the inside, Lauritsen's up to 4th already, Strauss into 5th, Russell's to solid 6th. Davis sweeps across and takes the lead. Oh, and Tobble's been pushed out wide by Keithley over the anti-cuts as the field sweeps through Clairvaux and Hawthorns, and Keithley's into 2nd, Lauritsen's up to 4th, Rasmus Solid with a great start to 5th place, and looking back from Toby Davis already, he's had a monster of a start. Look at that, fantastic getaway.
Oh, where's the track? Oh, it's all going to look at that! Who's that around? Who was that around?
There's several cars around, you can't see a thing.
I can't see a thing for all that dust. Oh, there we are, we saw it. Who was that? It must be Powell. It looks yellow.
Well, Butcher's back in 13th. Who's really dropped back on the field that I can see? Let's have a look. Well, Tommy down in 20th. I thought it was Amaral. I thought I saw a white red. That's a car wide as well.
Who is
that?
That's Ely.
That's Ely. Ely was involved.
And he's missing. He's from Bumble. Looks like he's clouted the wall somewhere.
Oh, Amaral's around!
Is that Amaral's
around at the Jim Clockettes?
Straight off.
And that is that suspension damage, because I think it looks like he did that all by himself. So I think that's possibly
yes,
suspension
look at that. He's got a puncher, I would say. Oh no, not quite sure now. Actually.
Well. Let's have a look.
Yes, he has looked at the
white rear.
So
white
what's happened is, as he comes to the next corner, which turns to the left, the right side is loaded up and spun the car straight out. Let's have a look. Here we are. Look at that. He will. Oh,
and he gave Heinz Petzold the fright of his life.
Oh, that was unbelievable. And he's going to crawl his way back to the pits. It's not been a fruitful afternoon, Pedro Amaral. So much promise. And once again, just can't finish his races. Back to the front of the field. Keithley has caught Davis. And Lauritsen is pressuring Torborg. So it's all on.
He has.
Strauss is in 5th. With Kilo 6th and poor start again from Kilo. With Sala 7th, Hack 8th.
I kind of have a feeling we've lost someone down for the bottom of the top 10, but it must have been my imagination, because we had a lot of cars going wide at the exit of the chicane. I don't think we have.
I think we're okay apart from Amaral.
Yes.
I think that's just
and Ely.
Well, Ely qualified in 18th, so it's definitely,
yeah.
Ely was 18th.
Looking back though, I did see always David. It's very squirrely under braking. There's Talborg defending from Lauritsen. That's challenging for their place. Lauritsen trying to go around the outside.
A little bit naughty that from Torborg. He'll argue that he understeered. Lauritsen will argue that he pushed him off. They'll both be right in their eyes.
That was a real camera. I think you'd say cough up $3,000, please. There, Torborg, for a new camera. I think because that's really going to
expensive place to put a camera. No doubt about that. Especially with Amaral going through there.
Yeah, we didn't actually hit it in fact.
Look at this. Remember, Strauss showed amazing pace in the first race. It's just that he got a terrible start and got involved and had damage. He came flying back to the field, finished 7th in the end. He was flying past people like they were standing still at one point, and now he's right up with the leaders. I think he's in with a proper shout of at least a podium here.
You can see that some of these Clios, even though it's a new Clio, some of the drivers haven't lost their habits, including getting the tail out through some of these tighter corners to help it round the corner, because we saw a lot of that with the old Clios. And
well, it's classic Lauritsen
new
trait as well, to get the car squirrely under braking. He likes a loose car under braking because he's driven karts so much in real life. That's just how he drives, cars all the time now, because that's how you get cars to turn, from his experience, obviously. And Amaral is only just coming out of the pits.
He's now, what's that? That's now what, two laps down now?
It must be 2 laps down.
It must be 2 laps down. No, maybe it's 1, because they've only gone past him once, I think.
Well, it's more on lap 3 now, and he would just come out the pits for the at the end of the start of his lap 2. Just one lap down.
Yeah, end of lap 1. So he's only lost 1 lap. So, and he's done it again though. Look at the front of Strauss's collar. He's done it. He stowed the front of that Clio in again.
What
has he done to it?
Maybe he designed it like that. Maybe it's the paint job. He has hit something hard again. Not quite as hard as the first time. It has to be said.
But he's still made a mess of it. That's what he's done.
He lost time as well through Tower. He lost lots of ground. And Lauritsen is challenging Torborg once again into the sunny corners. Keithley is still in 2nd. He's tracking Davis. And Torborg's under major pressure here. as is usual. Well, I'm not sure if Morales even come out of the pits. He keeps telling me that he'd come out of the pits. Oh, and there's Hackoff as well. That won't be helping his attempt to go through the field. Sarlo has got past Kilo, by the way. Look at that. So Kilo's back to 7th. Kilo's not showing the speed that we expected from him at this particular race. So Davis leads with Keithy 2nd, Torborg 3rd, Lauritsen 4th. All big pressure from everyone right now. And Strauss is beginning just to drop back a little bit into the clutches of Sarlo. You want to be careful here.
No, I just sort of think that possibly it was either Talborg or it was Lauritsen kicked up some dust on the exit of the hairpin as they head down towards Clervaux again.
Ooh, and
Lauritsen, you saw Lauritsen getting very
good.
Oh,
that's Keithy off the track.
Keithy off the track.
The first corner. Oh,
what happened there?
Retained his first
Let's get a replay of that.
Second position, yeah.
Because I've no idea what happened to him. Now,
well, he's all by himself.
He must have simply outbraked himself. He must have done because he wasn't that faster.
Well, we're not quite going to see it.
Oh, he clipped the anti-cut on the inside.
And that was quick thinking though. He knew where he could rejoin. A little bit of
Davis
lag there,
right.
of course.
That's probably lag actually.
Just
that was
replay,
lag.
So Torborg is now. Torborg. Oh, sorry. Torborg because I saw a position car ahead of Torborg. I thought that was Lauritsen, but Torborg is still in 3rd place. All is well. Calm down.
He's just caught Keithy as a result of a mistake. That's what he's done. But this is Lauritsen. You can see him putting under massive pressure. Talborg as he's drifting a little wide on the exit. Over the curve.
Strong, it has to be said.
Through Sonny out. So Lauritsen's really showing his pace, as you said. As you said before, it's now 3 wins in the last 5 races. Of course, we've had the first race at Croft here at Croft already. Lauritsen getting very racy indeed. Look at this. He's right on the rear.
Strauss has got his momentum back once again. Look, he's ranged back up on the back of these guys once again. So he's had a bit of a dip for a lap or two, and then come straight back at them again. Look, because they're all battling side by side. Oh, and that was contact.
That was Kilo hit the
Sarlo on Kilo, I'm pretty sure.
He's through. He's through though.
Hackers made contact as well, and there is John Monroe in 9th place. There's Precision and THR everywhere you look at the moment, and Hack is flying the core racing flag at the moment. Adams was flying it as well in race 1, but not so much in race 2. And look out for the progress of people like Rodriguez, Strad and Hughes.
Kilo's got back through to 6th. That was into Clervaux, so he got the run. So that's retaking position. And look at how Monroe's closed on Hack. This is brilliant from him. He's now 9th. Takes the wider line on the exit of Hawthorne. Through the chicane they go.
He actually took 2 wider line.
Oh, and on 2 wheels.
Hack
was very lucky.
Hack's very ragged in this race. It's very unlike him.
As Amaral's gone back into the pits, I think that's a very long
stop. That is a real pit
stop
this time, I think.
Yeah, so either he's had some problems on his his outlap, so had an incident somewhere, or that's just it's a glitch and it didn't fix the damage properly. But we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. On board now with Hack, now looking at the back of Rasmus Sarlo. His first race weekend as a THR Green Drum. A lot of dust being kicked up there as they go through the Jim Clark S's and in towards Barcroft. A lot of smoke in front as well. Now was that a lock up or did someone?
I think it's okay. There's been no change at all.
No.
It's probably Strauss locking up, trying to put a bit more design into that front.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Losing the back of Lauritsen. I'm joking. I'm sure he wasn't.
He's not happy with the front of that Clio. He wants to redesign it so it's like it's a Florian Strauss edition. Whole front's caved in.
He tends to like to redesign the Clios. For season 2, he redesigned my Clio to make it look like the facelifted 2010 version, which was interesting. And it worked very well. People were saying, how come you've got the different Clio? It's just a trick paint job from our very own Florian Strauss.
You're not bitter about that at all, are you?
No, I'm actually fine about it. I didn't like the design itself, but I appreciated the design. The design obviously of that and had the skill to make it look that way. And I love Florian Strauss's designs, as I think most people do. Even if they don't like them, then they appreciate the kind of artwork that goes into this kind of paint job.
Well, the effort that's gone into that paint job especially, it's that paint job which pretty much goes on all of his cars, that one at least. So he's done a great job. But
winner of many awards. And it's through! Lauritsen's got through on Torborg. So let's quickly try and see if we can get that on a replay. Here we are. We look back from look back from Torborg at Lauritsen. Lauritsen's going to make a classic move down the inside at Tower. I say classic.
It was that was incredible.
Less than classic.
That was like D1 Grand Prix reverse entry style.
That was like MotoGP style, wasn't it? Valentino Rossi thinks he is. We're back to live action. Back on board with Torborg as they come out of sunny out.
They do. Now they quit the front. So Davis leads by 1.9 seconds from Zach Keith. So he's extended the gap now to 2 seconds pretty much, which is much better for Davis this time round. He's taking quite a bit out of his tyres early on, it seems, but doing a good job nonetheless. Keithy holds second. Now we've got Strauss trying to go round the outside of Torborg, but Dane cuts him off. And is now continuing his assault to try and regain third place from Alexander Lauritsen. So it's currently THR first. No, sorry, THR first, Vision second and third, THR fourth, and Florian Strauss throwing in for 360.
Oh, Rodriguez is out.
He's lost.
Rodriguez is
Yeah,
out. He's
Rodriguez-
out. Suspension damage. Must be an accident
problems.
somewhere because he
Well,
was
I did
racing.
see him.
He was
I did
racing
see him
for
on the
10th
first.
for Strauss and Hughes.
Well, no, I saw
Sorry,
him on the first lap. I think he had some problems on the first lap. I think that's the reason why he went out, because I think he must have gone out. Butcher's
and
out
Butcher
as well,
out of the race
and
again.
Healy's out
Hughes
too.
also. Nick Hughes again. I think he blew his engine in the first race.
Nick has literally just gone. His engine's just gone bang. So that's unfortunate. Then, so these engines are. I think did see one or two guys saying the engines are the tolerances are a little lower, shall we say?
They are
finer,
still stronger than the old Clios though. So that's a little bit surprising that they're still having issues. Of course, you can't just bang down the gears in real life either. So that's just one of those things, I'm afraid.
Davis has got the lead back up now to another further 2/10, which is 2.1 seconds. And I do believe we've had someone join us in the comment box. It is in fact Chris Butcher's joined us. So he's in the com box with us.
I'm fearing this may not be a happy interview.
No, but Chris, if you're there, hard luck. Just talk us through what happened.
I've got myself to blame, to be honest with you. So I can't be angry, Ryan. But
You'll have a damn good try though, right?
yeah. Well, I could fit
I
something.
joke. Carry on.
I could fit something in there actually, which was I got barged out of the way by Gary Lennon, which I wasn't particularly impressed with. I think the red mist just descended. To be honest with you, I was pushing a bit too hard, flipped from the anti-cuts, and it spat me into the hay. So
into the hay bales at Sunny Inn. Oh,
that was my own fault.
They're heavy.
Yeah, very heavy, and well, I lost both my wheels, so there's no chance of getting that one back.
They're heavy, they ain't your brother.
Well, if it's any consolation, Simon Keeloff knows how you feel.
Yeah, I saw that.
He did exactly the same thing up at Barcroft. So
I wouldn't like to say, I grin, but
but you did. Anyway, thank you for updating us, Chris, on how your race didn't go, as it were. And but good luck in the rest of the season, and go and cheer on your teammate Toby Davis now, who's leading this race, of course, by a comfortable margin. How is he feeling?
I've not
Has
really
he said much?
spoken to him, to be honest with you. He's very quiet. I think he's concentrating, but it's obviously it's good to see he's back at the front of the field. So hopefully it'll stay that way.
Yep, it's been very exciting, these two races. So thanks, Chris, and we'll speak to you soon. Chris Butcher there, who didn't finish either race today, and he obviously described how his race end went. In the end, Strauss just had a little peek at Torborg, lost a couple of car lengths as a result, now has to fight to get them back, and that's the issue. Strauss has been struggling with tyre wear in the TouringProSeries for a good year and a half now, I would say, and we may see him drop off at the end of this race, or they didn't do at the start, in the first race. He actually came through the field at the end, so I'm not sure how it's going to go with Strauss. It has been a classic trait of Strauss that uses the tyres more than a Torborg or even a Lauritsen or a Kilo or a Keithley. So, but he has been working very hard indeed to try and alleviate that. It's going to completely new steering setup, for which is paying the price, slightly, because he's gone from the G25, which is obviously motor driven, to a Fanatec, which is belt driven. And Danny Asbury was telling me that he just cannot get used to it. He's got rid of his. He's bought this Fanatec. He appreciates the machinery behind it, but he just can't get used to it. So he's getting rid of it, getting a G27 back in.
That's my kind of person. I have a G27, but unfortunately it's collecting dust in my cupboards because I'm not able to use it because I don't have a proper system nor a proper setup to use it on.
And you're too busy commentating, Scott. That's where your passion lies, really, eh?
Yes, yeah, of course. But I want to get into sim racing at some point. But speaking of racing, we've been need to get back to Strauss.
He's just let him Torborg know, yeah, I'm here. Don't forget about me.
If that doesn't work, I'll give him a shove in a minute, just to let him know. Oi,
a bit of braille, a bit of Morse
let me
code.
through. I think you'll find fifth place as my name on it. So I think you'll find one. And look at that, the two precision cars almost go side to side. That's Keithley and Lauritsen.
And Davis is maintaining a very good speed here at the moment. He's just like 1/10 a lap, 2/10 a lap, opening that gap. We're halfway through the race already. Another very low 32 from Toby Davis. He's gained 2/10 on Keithley because Keithley had to defend into the final corner also. And Keithley may want to let Lauritsen go here because Lauritsen might be able to get up to Toby Davis. I'm not quite sure whether defending is the best thing to do. it's difficult to say, isn't it? He's got such a lead in the championship that he can afford to give up third place. But if he gives up third place, he might be under attack from Torbo once again. And we know he didn't enjoy that in the first race. So it's a very difficult decision to make right now. And he is the manager, remember, of the touring car operation of Precision Motorsport. So he's got all responsibility on his head to make the right decision here, as well as go fast.
This is the thing, see, we're coming to the last 4 rounds of the championship, we're getting towards the end of the season, and it's to the point now where really these guys will have to get to a point where they can say, right, enough working together. If Lauritsen gets himself into he needs every point he can get to get into a position to get himself into a championship winning position. If he does that, then Keithley will have to realise, it's Strauss!
Oh, he almost knows his way down. Just saw in the background, he just having a little peak once again, getting stronger and stronger it seems into that sunny in. Looks like Tobbo's struggling there, where in the first race he looked very strong there against Keithley. So I'm not sure what's happened to Tobbo. Maybe he's changed a couple of parameters and it's not helping him, doesn't seem. Maybe just everybody else has improved and he's stayed still.
Well, you saw Lauritsen there just trying to make his way back up the outside of Jack Keithley, as Sala tries to do the same on Keilov and has to settle for 7th for the moment. Haxton running in 8th, and John Monroe lagged a little bit, but he's now popped back into view in 9th there. And Eric Strana's running at the top, and the ice cold racing driver in the red and black ice peak backed car with the Swedish flag on the top. He's being hunted down by Jimmy Hughes.
They have official backing as well from Ice Peak. Not in monetary terms, but they do have official backing from Ice Peak and blessing to use their logos on their cars. And they're very impressed by the artwork from Eric de Veit. And thank you to Eric de Veit also for these onboard cameras which he has created for us as well. These are the onboard cameras he's created for us. Some great shots, especially this shot here, which really it's a lovely angle. Shows you
it's practically identical to the onboard camera you get for the real Clios. When you watch the BTCC, the Renault Clio Cup UK, that front-facing camera is practically exactly the same onboard roof camera you get as you would when you're watching the broadcast. So that really does help the authenticity of the broadcasts for you guys in this Tom Onslow-Cole Clio Series. Really does help that little bit extra to make it a little bit more professional, which is really great. But we're on lap 11 now, coming up towards the end of it, towards lap 12. So we're heading to the latter stage of the race.
They're all very close.
There are.
Oh, look at Oglethorpe's car. What has he done to that?
He wasn't happy with
his car also.
Well, he doesn't like obviously didn't like the way the car looks. He thought, I'm going to redesign it as Strauss did. Rips off the front bumper and thinks, there you go, much better. The only downside to that is
there's a few marshals out there with a few bits of souvenirs, I tell you.
Yeah, virtual marshals. They'll be going home and do whatever it is where it is virtual marshals go home.
They're thinking it's Christmas.
But
Petzold has struggled throughout this race as well with that damage. Amaral's now flying back through, but I think he's even a lap down on Petzold. So I don't think that's going to be
well, the gaps
a passable position right here.
Well, the gaps effectively that on the screen you see there are relative to the leader. So yeah, I reckon he is a lap down at whatever it is. But Davis has now a 3-second gap, which is incredible. As the two precision cars now go side by side.
Here we go, Lauritsen this time. Surely going to pass this time around.
He's going to dive up the inside. Yes, he will.
Overlap.
This time gloves are off.
Oh, and Torborg tried to get through. Oh, that was a bit risky. Oh, and Keith's come back on the exit. I'm not sure he's going to properly challenge. Oh, he is going to properly challenge for it. Let's go for this shot. Oh,
careful!
Smashing into the gym park. This is the two teammates, and Keithley has to give way. This is going to leave him vulnerable, surely, to Torborg. No, Torborg made too much of a mistake at the tower to be able to close under the brake. It's such a difficult corner that you're on the edge by yourself. Never mind around other people. It's so close. Strauss pushing Torborg. Torborg pushing Keithley. Keithley saying, "Get on with it, Lawrence, and I'm under attack."
This is incredible. I did see Strauss give the back of Talborg's car a punt, which is as you said, yeah, exactly. But at the same time, Strauss is redesigning his Clio again, which is probably just to make it even more prettier in his eyes, I guess. As he goes round that side, no, it hasn't made it stick this time. That outside pass, unless you get enough momentum on the exit and a better drive.
Maybe got a slipstream here, you know. He's maybe got a slipstream from Keithley,
and that's quite enough. Talbot can sense it. Talbot don't
just
think so. Look at that! Oh, Strauss, I think, is dummy towards the inside. I think he might have done. Oh, with a clear
it's such a small break is only to there. You can almost say like it's a low fourth gear corner, and you approach in high fifth. So it's actually, even though it's the first turn, and everyone associates the first turn as being, on most tracks. Oh, and Strauss has made a mistake. He's off the track. He's blown his engine.
Oh no!
Blown his engine. What has happened there?
Well, that's exit stage right for Florian Strauss, then, unfortunately, which is rather a shame.
It is. What has happened here? He came through here absolutely fine.
Now, let's have a look. Did he hit the
And
edge?
then
No, he
bang.
just went.
Like,
Engine
he
just
must
went
have
bang.
caught the wrong gear. Must have caught the wrong gear. Let's go on board for that.
He's possibly downshifted a bit. I can't. Obviously, you'll be able to hear it possibly on the broadcast.
Walker, we can't. Oh yes, he changed gear. Look, you can see actually the hand go out. I'm not sure actually now. Oh no, you just see the fire go out. Sorry, that's not the hand. Just see the fire explode, and you don't change gear there. He must have just clipped the wrong gear as a fire engulfs the car. He would get out that pretty quickly if he was in that.
I think possibly he was too busy trying to focus on trying to catch Talbot and get past him that he either forgot which way to pull the gear stick and just obviously just changed down when he should have changed up and just.
He may have changed it to second instead of fourth.
Yeah,
for example.
exactly. Yeah.
I think he changed to fourth just on where that chicane is.
And that's just sent about 8,000 RPM, 7,000 RPM or more into the engine. It's just blown it sky high. So
and the limits in these cars are 6,500. So it's not healthy for it at all, and that's the end of Strauss's race, unfortunately. Look at Kilo, he's really struggling. He's nowhere near pulling away from Salo. He's nowhere near getting close to the gap for 4th spot. Previously in the season, we've seen that he comes through the field, even after getting a bad start. We saw it at Verano, saw it at Rockingham. We've seen it everywhere, that he comes through the field, even when he has a bad start, and continues pushing all the way to the end. It looks like in these Clios at least, or maybe just the track, or just the circumstances, it's not happening at all for him.
Oh,
Salo's
the two wheels!
off the track, and through will go Hack. Thank you very much.
Incredible. Oh, and has there been a change? No, I thought I saw a change for a second because Talbot was very close to Keithley. I thought there was a switch for position. I think momentarily.
Well, between them, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think Talbot might have just momentarily tried to dive, looking at the positions. Because I think they switched very for like a split second, but Keithley's maintained the advantage up ahead. But this is a carbon copy of race 1.
He went deep at Sonny in. He went deep at Sonny in. He's managed to save it, but that's cost him time. And now he's back under pressure once again, and he's literally got no chance of getting up to Toby Davis either, because that gap was going to be too much to eke out in the next 4 laps.
I'm pretty sure either that was 4.7, but it's
contact pass and big contact there. Keithley has saved it though.
Yeah, he's tagged the rear end. He tags the rear end pretty hard.
Foul, I would call that one, but that was a little bit ambitious from Talbot. Keithley did it in the first race to Davis. I'm sure Davis isn't particularly happy about that, because Keithley ended up going off track as a result, going down the inside of him. Whether that was just because he pushed past the car or whatever, but I'm sure that wasn't particularly what's the word, pleasing to Toby Davis in the first race. And Talbot went for the same move, didn't quite work out.
No, he didn't. And just looking back, also I was looking pretty close between 5th and 6th for Kilov and Hack, and that gap was 1/10 of a second as they crossed the line. So Chris, I'm really enjoying this new Clio up in 6th place. He came on strong pretty much in the final few races for the old Clio. He runs a little wide on the exit of the chicane in his pursuit. And also Rasmus Salas dropped a place, looks like, as well, because of course, and that was of course a lap ago. Salas two-wheeled antics on the exit of the chicane, which cost him a place. Antics indeed. As the gap's now at the front 5.1 seconds. Dave is absolutely romping away at the
clinic here. He's not dipped below a 32.3, I don't think. And that's fantastic, because Keithley was doing 33 zeros. Obviously, he was under pressure from Talbot having to defend. Oh, and
look at
that's
these
a bit
two.
naughty from those boys there, because that's far too wide.
I'm pretty sure.
Jim Clark S's.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the stewards are watching that and thinking that is blatant exceeding track limits.
It's not very grippy out if you go right out to the white stuff. So it's not. And we saw that Salo gained a little bit through there. So it's not really advisable to go through there, anyway, because it doesn't gain you any time at all.
No.
In
fact, effectively, they could probably argue that they lost time as Sack gets very sideways under braking for the right-hander through the complex into the hairpin, and Kielf holding on for the moment. You see Strana's coming back at them as well, and Hack
he's
tries to get over
back to the Baltic guys.
Hack climbed all over the curve on through the hairpin, taking that tight line, which he absolutely loves. He now has the run down the pit straight towards Clairvaux, but I think Kielf's just about enough in front. Yes, he is, as they sweep into the first corner. That long line of black rubber being laid down by Hack as he locked up the right front, and again getting a little twitchy.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
This
wide,
we've not seen this
side by side.
Oh, it's too close.
No, he has to back out of it. He has to back out of it.
That's beautiful actually from Hack, because he's pushed Kielf
wide though. Oh, Kielf's wide though. Hack's going to the outside, side by side, down towards tower bend.
He's on the grass.
Kielf moved across.
Oh, that was
naughty for Kielf. And trying to get around the outside. Oh, surely not. That's incredible. Look at that.
And he's through.
And he's done it.
He needs a hustle for it. He's through. What a move by Chris Hack.
That was classy beyond belief. That was clear.
Turn 1 at Clairvaux.
Beautiful pass from Chris Hack around the outside. Passing around the outside of Tabbert is not impossible, as proven by Chris Hack and Kilo trying again down the inside, forcing Chris trying to go wide at Sunny Hack. In, over on the grass.
Come back at him. No. Just enough of an overlap.
Salo goes wide.
Salo's trying hard. Look at it. He's looking at him thinking, oh, is this tasty? This is tasty. I can take advantage, but trying too hard. And he didn't take advantage. As Kilo kicks up more dust in his pursuit of Hack. Looks like Hack, if he can just eke out this next couple of corners, he won't move away. And even though he looks like he's defending at that corner, that's the line he's been taking even throughout qualifying. So he's quite comfortable with that line. And Hack may now pull away. Strawn is quite close. Yes, look at Strawn. There he is. So, and he's actually brought Jimmy Hughes with him to an extent also. Look at that. Jimmy Hughes is not too far behind either. And he'll just be driving perfect lines, looking for anything mistakes that these guys made. And Salo goes straight off.
Salo's in the air.
Is that Kilo over the anti-cuts as well?
It
was Hack over the anti-cuts.
I'm sure I saw some.
He's back to 7th position.
And Strawn completely lost his
Hack
on 2 wheels.
He's off. He's off. And that lets Strawn through. And Strawn missing the front of his car. He is
completely. He's lost it completely.
What's going on?
That must have been as a result of that whatever contact he had through the first couple of corners, because he was missing it as he went through Hawthorne, so he must have clipped the anti-cut.
These cars don't rely on aerodynamics, but Hack was 5th half a lap ago.
He was, and he's dropped.
That's not good for Hack at all.
And
kept
Jimmy
powder dry all race, kept himself calm and clean and waiting for opportunities, and then threw it all the way right at the end, because we're on the penultimate lap, remember.
We're just about to start the final lap, in fact.
Salo's gone wide. Hack, Strawn closes. Remember, Strawn finished 4th in the last race, so he has real pace in these cars. It's only that bad qualifying that's hampered him in his second race. Keith is under pressure from Torborg as well. Still, these two have been at it for nigh on 36 laps now.
And what's also key is that Lauritz has actually pulled a gap to these guys for 3rd.
He has, he just disappeared. But he's not been able to make any dent at all on Toby Davis.
I think Strawn and Salo have been swapping places, because I just saw them two switch places back. There they are! Oh, side-to-side contact, door handle. Salo then goes towards the pit wall. Strawn gets the toe down the straight. Looks like Hack will try and toe in as well. Last lap now, this is the last chance. If Strawn's going to do it, he'll have to do it this time around, because into Cleverville, he try and make a dive up the inside. Not quite, as Salo sweeps across and holds on to his 6th place. Kilov still in 5th as he holds on. Tolborg now 2 tenths behind Keithley in 4th. Lauritz has pulled away, so the gap is now almost 3 seconds. And he himself's Hack again over the second time in a row.
And it's going to cost him that 8th spot as well. Where is Jimmy Hughes? He must be coming through on a left. There he goes. Jimmy Hughes says thank you very much.
How is that car not on its side? Because that's incredible car control from Chris Hack on that one.
Well,
absolutely unbelievable.
You would argue we should have done that in the first place, right?
He should have done. But it must be the angle of the wheels. And look at the back of his car; it's been stoved in as well. Look at that. These cars really can take a battering.
I think that was because he hit the anti-cuts at turn 1.
Possibly.
I think that's where Strawn got the damage.
Because Strawn hit the back of Crack.
Yeah.
That's how he lost it.
Exactly what happened.
But at the front, I think Davis is about to secure another race victory, and what a
not talked about much at all, have we? As he celebrates across
he's rallycross style drifting.
He has put on a clinic here. He got a great start. He got pole position, and now he's going to take another win and puts his championship challenge back on track. A much needed result for Toby Davis. That's a great result. Didn't talk too much about him, but of course he's so far ahead. He'll love that. Flashes his lights across the line. Lauritsen in second. Keithley in 3rd, just held off Jesper Torborg for 4th. Once again, Torborg not able to get the better of Keithley. Kilo in 5th in the end, with Salo 6th, Hughes 7th, Strawn ended up 8th in the end. So Hughes came through and took 2 positions on the last lap.
That must have been Strana and Hack. Literally, they must have gone across the line completely dead level, because look at the gap. It was 20 seconds exactly.
Less than a 10th of a second, obviously. With Van der Ven 11th. Munro in 10th. Van der Ven 11th. With Adams, Lennon, Cervic, Jacobs, Ockercliffe, and Jay Adji rounding out the top 18 with Powell and Petzold. So it's core completely rounding out that top 20. And Petzold managed to get some decent points considering the damage he had from the very first lap. Well, we'll be right back after a few adverts, and we'll be back with race 2 summary, thoughts going forward in the championship, and of course driver interviews.
GamePod, the ultimate race rig for those serious about sim racing. Puts you in the driver's seat with all the controls at your fingertips. Be number one on the road, in the race, in the game. GamePod, the choice of champions.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Hello and welcome back to the post-race broadcast of the 7th round of the Tom Onslow-Cole Clio Series. We've just seen two fantastic races from Croft, full of intrigue, full of incident, and full of stories for the championship. What did you make of it, Scott?
Oh, fantastic debut races for these new Clios. It was, I think these Clios promised everything that they were expecting of them and more. So race 2 was plenty of action. We had a lot of the massive kerfuffle, shall we say, at turn
Kerfuffle?
1, or ruckus, shall we say, ruckus.
That's a much better word. Yeah, we'll use that one. Much
ruckus.
more manly.
We'll use ruckus. That's much better. The ruckus exiting the chicane at turn 1. We had several cars off. We had the drama with Amaral going out with a puncture. And then just the battles going through. We had the dominance by Toby Davis in that second race. He absolutely just streaked away with it. It wasn't challenged all race at all. We just kept consistently pumping in those low 32s to maintain his lead. We had the battle that was going on for second between Keithley and Lauritsen, and also Tolbel with Florian Strauss getting in there as well. Then Strauss's engine blew up after he downshifted too quickly and put about 7,000 revs to the engine too much, and other stories in there was with the fantastic battles behind with the likes of Rasmus Salo and Simon Kielov, who was a little bit off the pace as well. So plenty of stories to go from this race, but the key thing is we had wins for both, of course, Jack Keithley and Toby Davis, and those guys have really strengthened their positions in the championship. So going forward to the last 3 rounds, of course, we've got the next 2 races at Silverstone, at Snetterton, which is my home circuit, yay, and the series finale at Knock Hill.
Oh, 3 great tracks to finish off the season.
Absolutely, with these 3 new circuits. So we'll see. But great evenings race, if you say it, Croft. And I know we've got a lot of drivers eager to express their views and what they've just taken part in. So I'll let you start off, Ryan.
We have been entertained this evening, and we are now going to get a word from those entertainers. First of all, we'll start with the race one. I say my words properly. Jack Keithley. Jack. Boy, that was a hard-fought win in race 1.
Definitely. I mean, I just want to say, like, the qualifying, I was a bit miffed I didn't get pole, but I knew that starting second, I was going to have the inside for turn 1. But now I'm very pleased to win the first race here with the new Clio. And I wasn't expecting THR to be as quick as they were on the long run. I thought we'd had good pace, but they obviously had amazing pace. And
what would you attribute that to?
Long.
Why do you think
never again.
that was? Why do you think they had a better long run pace than the Precision? Because that's unusual compared to the 2008 model that we've been racing the first part of the season.
Well, I'm honestly not sure. We're going to have to try some things in the setup. There probably is. I know there's so few things to do, but there's perhaps some certain levels with adjustments we haven't seen yet on how it affects the car. We're going to have to sort that out for Snetterton for sure.
Right, and of course, then you fought off Jesper in race 1. Another titanic battle with Jesper. I mean, those sort of races seem to happen a lot between you guys. How do you feel? Is there a bit of psychological warfare going on with Jesper at the moment? Because In previous races, whenever you've raced exactly together, close together on track, you have, just edged it. Do you think you've got the psychological edge over Jesper?
Honestly, I don't really think about it, but battling Jesper, I like doing that because he's a very hard, clean-fought racer, and when it comes to battling him, I ain't got a problem with that because I know that most likely all what's going to happen is one position is going to be swapped, unlike perhaps 5 or 10 if contact is involved.
Okay, so we will not get quite into that subject because we'll be dipping into the 4 weeks ago debacle that we had. But well done in race 1, and of course in race 2 it was a good result again. Lauritsen had a bit more speed on yourself, of course, but it's still a good result. First and third, considering the championship lead you have, is excellent. And of course you beat Jesper, who's your nearest championship rival, in both races. So all in all, it's an excellent result for you in the championship, and good luck with the rest of the championship. Now, Scott, you have got Toby Davis, who took the race 2 win.
Yes, I do indeed. So Toby, let's just take you back to race 1 then. You're tailing behind Jack Keithley. You're heading up towards the hairpin, and all of a sudden you get a thump from behind from your teammate Jesper Talborg.
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind
this is nothing to do with Jesper. I'll explain. Basically, I had a screen freeze. Screen went black, and then it popped up with desktop. Managed to click on rFactor. By the time I clicked back on rFactor, I was pointing 45 degrees to the right and right in front of Jesper. So nothing I could do about that. So apologies to Jesper. It was actually a technical fault my end.
Okay, not a problem.
I actually did it again later on in race 1, but actually on the start-finish straight. So thankfully, kept it straight, kept my foot forwards, and it was fine.
That is very fortunate indeed, of course. And then you spent the rest of race 1 having to fight your way back up, and eventually you got yourself right onto the back of the fight for the lead between Keithley and Talborg. Because they were battling so hard, I mean, were you just having to resort to settling for third in the points, or were you pushing for the victory to see if those two could go for it?
I pushed far too hard and got a bit squiggly on the brakes and lost a couple of places actually, so that was my own fault. I reined it in race 2, did a bit of learning, and actually I think I had the quickest car out here today. So what we'll do is we'll use whatever tweaks I made to the setup for myself, and we'll use that in the THR setup going forward. But obviously, it being a new mod, it's hard to find a sweet spot, and I'm sure I haven't found the perfect setup, but the car was completely the most drivable thing in the world in race 2, so pretty happy.
Excellent. Of course, like I said, in race 2, you were completely unchallenged. You went ahead and you took a very dominant victory. It was practically a lights to flag victory, so it was absolutely fantastic performance, and couldn't have also been it along with effect of its 2 pole positions as well. So great stuff. And of course, you're going to go towards the Silverstone now, which is a slightly different, shorter, long, fast straights as well, and some very long corners. How do you think THR are going to perform there? How do you think the car's going to run compared to how it has done at Croft?
We'll be right there. The thing that helped me at Croft is I've raced it in real life. That's the same as Snetterton as well coming up, and Silverstone National. They're all tracks I know really well from racing them in supercarts. So it gives me, I reckon, a bit of a head start, particularly as this Croft version is incredibly accurate. And I know there's sort of little lines and stuff that you have to use, so it does benefit me from that perspective. So I'm pretty confident that we'll take the setup that we've tweaked here, and we'll take it to Silverstone, and I'm sure we'll be right up there again. And I feel that I could have taken points out of Jack today, and with the screen freeze and one or two other little things that self-inflicted and otherwise. I should have done better in race 1 as I did in race 2, but that's racing, and we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks' time.
Well done on your 2 poles and your race victories today, and fingers crossed for Silverstone you can keep that form up.
Thanks, Scott.
Ryan, thank you. I believe you've got Florian Strauss with you to talk things through.
I do indeed. If Florian's there, just to have a quick word with. Yes, he is. So. Florian, we'll just quickly cover race 1 first of all, because the issue we want to cover, of course, is race 2. But race 1, you obviously had a bad start to the race and fought your way back through. But what was it that put you back in the pack on lap 1 in race 1?
I lost the rear. I don't remember in which turn, but makes it a little bit difficult for me to get back to the field. But pace was surprisingly good, so was looking forward for race 2.
Of course, you came charging through, finished 7th in the end in race 1, which is a great result, and you were passing people left, right and centre, making it look very easy, especially at the end of the race, which is unusual for yourself, because we usually see, of course, and you yourself will admit it, is that the tyre wear is usually your biggest issue, not the speed itself. But in race 2, you were right there with Torborg and Lauritsen and Keith, and you looked faster than the guys, you just couldn't quite find, that small gap you needed to get through, but then going through the chicane, bang, the engine went, fire. What happened?
First, I have to say I switched back to my Logitech G25.
Oh, we were just discussing that actually in the broadcast as well. How strange. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, Florian.
But yeah, it's very old, and it was laying a lot of time in covered with dust. So the pedals don't work as I would like. So I had this problem already in race 1, but it wasn't so much problem. But in race 2, I almost in every lap I had very big problems to shift down when I wanted, but it shifted down when I don't want it. So
yeah,
the engine was early in the race was only by 20%, and then the wheel shifts down again in the chicane and the engine blow.
And she definitely did blow in a big way. Although that happened, I know from myself, those sorts of things are, incredibly frustrating that they've happened. But what is encouraging is the pace that you've shown. You must fancy your chances going forward in the rest of the season now, then.
Yeah, yesterday I was not looking forward for the race. But
yeah, I spoke to Florian on Skype yesterday. He was asking me for all kinds of tips. He didn't seem happy at all.
But the pace today was amazing for me, so I'm looking forward.
Yes, well done, and lucky with that second race. But the speed is there, and that's the most important thing. And we look forward to seeing you at the front for the rest of the season as well. And because your car looks so nice as well, it's a pleasure to see it with the front, isn't it, Scott?
It is. It's a very great looking car, the 360 Clio, and fantastic stuff.
I also have a question.
Yeah,
go on,
Ryan. Why you weren't racing?
I wasn't racing because I had to commentate in the end, because Keith has lost his voice.
You can't leave me alone on track.
I can what? Sorry, I can commentate.
You can't leave me alone on track.
Oh, I would have been in no help whatsoever anyway. I'm rubbish. Anyway, going back to the interviews, we're supposed to be asking the questions, Florian, not you. Yeah. It's all gone to pot. Scott, you've got Jimmy Hughes, and Jimmy had 2 very strong races, probably his strongest races of the season.
Absolutely. Jimmy, great stuff from you today. Qualifying didn't go too bad, but you managed 2 finishes inside the top 10 in team's race at Croft. Just talk us through how your race weekend went from your point of view.
Yeah, well, it started on the back foot a bit, really. I had a few technical issues in qualifying, so I did initially put in a lap, but ended up having to leave and rejoin, and the lap I'd done didn't stand, so I had to start from plumb last. Got a cracking start, and then found someone sideways in turn 2, and there was nothing I could do. Ploughed into them, and I think it bent up the car a little bit, but somehow just pushed on with it. Managed to really, in the first few laps, get myself up just outside the top 10, and then just kept it clean to the end of the race, and picking off positions where and as I can. Race 2 was a bit more positive, but still struggling with qualifying. Never really had the hang of this single lap lark, but managed to get myself at least sort of mid-pack, better starting point, and pushed on from there. So pretty pleased with 2 top 10 results.
And so comparing to the 2008 Clio, which you just left, and of course going to this new Clio, how are you finding adapting to it? Because of course, the thing's got more power, better suspension, it's got better aerodynamically, smaller engine, but with a turbocharger as well. So you've got to get used to turbo power rather than natural aspiration. How are you finding the transition to the Clio? Are you finding you're getting on better with it? Are there some characteristics that you're finding you're not getting on with so well? What's your opinion of this new Clio?
Yeah, I prefer it to the old Clio in nearly every aspect, really. It's much more suited to my style of driving, and I think it's quite similar to the rFactor 2 Clio as well in some respects, which I've had a bit of experience with. But the other thing is, before the start of the season, I'd never driven the 2008 Clio, so I think what with that car being used quite a lot by a lot of the drivers here, they were all sort of used to it, knew how to set it up, get the best out of it, and yeah, exactly how to get it to do what they want. Whereas now everyone's starting from a level playing field. I feel it's definitely going to suit me more towards the end of the season.
Well, fingers crossed that you can get a little bit stronger through the last 3 race weekends we've got coming up, and fingers crossed we can see you more regularly in the top 10 as we progress. And well done, at least, with your top 10 finishes in this evening's races. Ryan, I believe you've got the amazing two-wheeler that is Russ Swift. I mean, Chris Hack, available to speak to. And Ryan appears to have forgotten that he's muted his mic.
I made a very good joke then as well, and I was on mute. That's terrible.
You can say it again. We didn't hear it.
I'm livid. No, it's all about timing. You can't do that. No, I'm livid. Anyway, we're going to talk to Chris Hack, who is our two-wheel specialist.
Yes.
Moving on. Going to be super serious now. Chris, 2 excellent runs for you in terms of speed. And in the first race, you got a great result. And the best you've seen you run since Old Ring last year. Last season. Where you finished second behind me in season 3. But in the second race, you were again patient. You showed that trait that you usually show on track. You're nice and patient, waiting for the mistakes, and then made a couple yourself, which is very uncharacteristic. But just talk us through why you had such good speed this time round. First of all.
Don't know.
You don't know. I also say some hard work, Chris.
Yes,
I can probably guess. He's probably had his cake and cookies.
He has had his cake and cookies.
There were no cake, no cookies today. Maybe.
No
cake and cookies. Oh,
that's incredible.
Drugs.
Luckily, I got a setup from Darren, which meant I wasn't 2 seconds slower than default setup, which I was with my first attempt at setup. So that's probably how.
So basically, Darren's to blame for your good speed.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So I mean, in that second race, you clipped that barrier a couple of times in a row. Did you not learn from your mistakes?
I think so. What happened was, the first time, it went wrong at turn 1, and in trying not to roll, I just bounced, and I think I landed right in front of Eric, who had nowhere to go, and rear-ended me, obviously, because I was suddenly stopped in his way. And then I never adjusted to the whole car not doing what I was expecting it to for a couple of laps, which wasn't good.
So it snowballed, of course, from there, because one mistake leads to another mistake, which leads to another mistake, and that obviously cost you that excellent result that you were going to have. You would have been 5th spot, and instead you ended up finishing in 7th.
9th.
I recall, in 9th. Oh, you finished in 9th in the end, so that was even worse than I expected. I apologise. But obviously you showed excellent pace today. You would say probably the best you've shown all season, apart from maybe at Most, where you had some good pace there also as well. But you must be pretty encouraged going forward in the season then, because there are all tracks coming up that that I'm presuming that you know pretty well. Even if you don't know Silverstone, it's the one that it's easy to learn. But you raced last season, of course, at Snetterton and at Knockhill as well. So you must be fairly confident going forward in the rest of the season and looking to maybe challenge for a podium at some point.
I'm always happy if I get in the top 10 here, so podium's a bit far-stretched, but I think I didn't actually drive that well in race 1. I made a couple of stupid mistakes, really, but pace-wise was alright. I didn't hit what I could have, but I think I didn't even hit a 31 in either of the races, so I'm not quite sure how I ended up so high up, but...
Skill.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yes. Skill.
Yes, skill.
Very skillful.
Always.
Thank you, Chris. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And thank you to all the drivers giving interviews here today. I know plenty of them. Most of the people we've spoken to obviously are pretty pleased with their results, so it wasn't too difficult an interview to give. I gave Jack a bit of a hard question about Jesper, but I'm sure Jesper won't thank me for that either. But I'm just doing my job. Sorry. So, Scott.
Yes.
That was 2 great races there. Thank you again to the drivers for the interviews. Going off the interviews and what they're saying there, can you glean any more, backstories from this race, or is it all pretty clear going into the rest of the season?
Well, this is something I pointed out. Just been thinking this over just whilst the interview there with Chris was going on. Is that now we're going forward into the last 3 races.
3 rounds, 6 races.
With 3 rounds, I should say. 6 races in total, because of course we've double headers for each. What we're going to have to really bear in mind here is now, effectively, it's going to have to get to a point where, it gets to the point where Precision and THR, their main players, of course. For THR, it's Toby and it's Jesper. And for Precision, it's the likes of, at the front at least, it's Jack and it's Alexander, and to an extent also just about in there Simon as well. They're going to have to sit down and have the conversation where they're going to have to say, right, it's the last 3 races of the season. Now, instead of us working together, it's going to have to be gloves off. And we saw something similar to that, something part of that today start to come about when we saw the battle between Keithley and Lauritsen, with Lauritsen making the pass on Keithley. So this is going to make it all the more interesting, because essentially these guys, yes, they're teammates, but effectively they're going to have to stop, if this makes any sense, stop acting like teammates in terms of helping each other, because they're going to have to go out there and, well, even though they're on the same team, they're going to have to start getting a bit more selfish and going out there for themselves. Now, I'm hoping that this won't cause any problems internally between both teams, because of course no one wants that. But of course, when you've got one or more drivers going for the championship, and this is the case now in both teams, you've got THR, Orange.
Well, I was just going to ask this question actually, because just to clarify, I mean, Keithley is going to be something like 220 points ahead of Lauritsen, and quite similar to the Keithley gap as well, because of Kilo and Lauritsen not even competing pretty much in race, not scoring any points in race 1. So, Precision have got 1 bullet in the gun, and THR have got 2.
2.
But, would you prefer to back 1 horse, or would you prefer to back 2?
Well, I guess if you back 2, then you've got more chance of getting a return, I suppose, because then you're doubling your odds of getting a result from something. But
they have to take points off each other, remember.
That's true. That's true. But more effectively, not only have they got to take points from each other, they've got to take points off Keithley as well. So they've got to do 2 things at once, which is basically battle each other and stop Keithley from running away with it. So
on the one hand, you've got the theory of 2 is better than 1, but on the other hand, you've got the theory of, well, all Precision have to do now is support Keithley, because the other 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers are all out of the championship. They can't win this championship from where they are. It's virtually impossible.
Yeah,
even if they catch Keithley, they're not going to catch Torborg or Davis. So, all they have to do is support Keithley now. They're not going to put Keithley off, whatever. Whereas Torborg and Davis, they have to figure it out between themselves.
They do.
That's the issue there, and I'm sure they'll probably get more support from maybe Butcher and Ely and Sarlo. But at the moment, it seems like Keithley's getting more support from Lauritsen and Kilo than Torborg and Davis are from Sarlo and Butcher and Ely, if that makes sense, without confusing everybody who's listening.
At one point, it's going to get to the point where Keithley will stop asking the question, how many points do I need to score to maintain my gap? The question will then be, how soon can I win this championship? How soon can I mathematically tie it up? Because remember, we've got these 3 rounds at Silverstone, Snetterton, and then if we haven't decided it by then, by some miracle, then we'll have the season finale at Knock Hill, which is going to be an absolute cracker, whatever scenario and whichever way it goes. But nonetheless, I mean, effectively,
just to let viewers aware, if they're not as concerned at the championship, there's 50 points for a win, but the gaps are very small as you go down. There's only 3 points between first and second, and on another 2, and then 2 points, as you go down. So the points are very tight. In the end, Keithley, I think, has opened up another 5 points over Torborg, and Davis is about level with Torborg in the championship. So the problem is, Keithley now has, over Torborg and Davis, what will be around about a 66-point lead. Now, there's still 300 points to go, of course, but they've got to somehow gain 66 points when Keithley is likely to be on the podium in every single race so far in the rest of the season. So if Keithley is on the podium so far, is on the podium in the rest of the races in the season, then it's 100% Keithley's championship. They need Keithley to have a bad result. Will that happen with the support of when there's only 1 bullet in the gun for them?
That is true, but of course, if you look at the pace of the THR guys compared to all the Precision guys, it's quite likely, if you look at all the Precision guys, they're more than likely all going to be up there in the top 10. With due respect to the rest of the guys, the THR, the only real front runners, again, with all due respect to the other guys in the team, the only real front runners are the 2 guys which are in contention for the championship, which are Torborg and Davis. Of course, Tom Eady's up there as well. Tom Eady has got some pace in there, and he can run near around the top 10, and Salo as well, who's just recently joined. So they've got some support. But if you and you saw today, the likes of Keelov and to an extent Lauritsen as well, we're fighting it out and doing everything, and Munro as well. We're fighting out amongst the likes of Ely and also more strongly as such Salo. But really, it's now getting to the point where it is now a 3-horse race. It is now Keithley, Talborg, and Davis. And you said Davis and Talborg got that predicament of sorting out how they battle each other, and then effectively, if it gets to the point where they can't, if the championship gets wrapped up before the final race weekend, effectively the battle will turn not for who's going to be winning the championship, but effectively who's going to be top THR driver, and they'll have to stuff that one out amongst themselves, of course. And whilst that happens, of course,
we could talk about this
run away with
all night. We could go backwards and forwards, get more people in the net. We best wrap up because we've been talking about that for a good 10 minutes now.
Indeed.
And so we begin to bore people. They'll all have their own views anyway. Anyway, coming up in the TPS in the next 10 days. Next 10 days, we return to the virtual V8 supercars that are in park. We talked about this earlier. We have 2 sprint rounds once again here, which is going to lead to plenty of excitement. A very dramatic track, Oran Park, as well. Anybody who's watched the 2011 highlights of Oran Park will remember the humongous crash of Adam Egbeer on track. And also, we've had plenty of times when people have had incidents there also as well. So looking forward to that in 10 days' time. As you can see, at 17:15 GMT, that's 6:15 on a Saturday, next Saturday, a week on Saturday, should I say, in the UK, and 7:15 in Central Europe for the time zones. I'm sure you can pretty easily figure it out from there. So make sure you tune in for that. It will be myself and Danny Asbury on the comms for that. That's the plan anyway. And so we'll see you there in 10 days' time. For now, thank you very much for watching. The Tom Onslow-Cole Clio Series is certainly getting very intriguing indeed. And then we'll see you in 10 days' time. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Callan is over!
Oh,